Assistant General Manager of APEDA. Mr. V.K. Vidyarthi, sir, General Manager of Agriculture and Food Products Export Development Authority, Government of India. Then we have Mr. Subhash Bhattacharya, sir. He is the co-chairman of ICC Agriculture, Horticulture and Food Processing Committee, Northeastern Region. Dr. Jupi Gogoi, who is the Associate Professor of National Law University. Then Mr. Habibullah, who is the head of GI and trademarks. He's the All India head of GI. He's joining us virtually from Chennai. Mr. Vishwajit Sarkar, he's also specialized in IPR related issues. And again, we have Mr. Pradipta Kumar Bakshi. He's also an attorney on IPR related issues. Now, Mr. V.K. Vidyarthi sir is also joining us from Delhi virtually. Now, at the outset, I will request our regional director, Mr. Ishantor Subhapandit, to kindly felicitate. Mrs. Sunita Rai, madam, we are very much grateful to APEDA and you for taking this initiative. Mr. Subhash Bhattacharya, sir, we are very happy to have a veteran like you, sir. Dr. Jupi Gogoi, welcome you, ma'am. And Mr. Pradipta Kumar Bakshi. Now I'll request our regional director, Mr. Ishantor Subhapandit, to kindly give his welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Pranjit. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to thank Mrs. Sunita Rai, Mr. Subhash Bhattacharya, Mr. Jupi Gogoi, and Mr. Bakshi. This important program. This is basically, we all know that the importance and need of GI in today's scenario. And I won't take much of time. Here, I just want to say that we have got a long way to go in terms of GI compared to other states. In Northeast, we have got only 24 odd products which are registered under GI. And we have got a very, very long way to go. And it's high time that we know the importance and need of GIs and we take and reap the benefit. The price of the double and multiple times provided once has got a GI tag in it. It has got many objectives and many maybe importance and needs of having this GI. One very important thing that we are fortunate, rather, the APC told me that they wanted to give the GIs of the Naga pineapples, but he doesn't know where to approach, where to go. And the process of GIs is also quite lengthy, but we need to start somewhere so that the actual benefits, the demand of the product really we can get. So I think now it's high time that we all talk about GI. We talk about how to promote our product, how to add value to our product, and get a right price of the product, which has got which has got great demand. And in today's maybe discussions and deliberations from the panel of speakers, we will really learn and understand uh, the importance and again the need of the GIs. And I think after the discussion that we have today, we will go back with a mind where we can share to the people that GI is something which is very important for the development of not only the society but the growth of the farmers and Northeast as a whole. So thank you very much. I request everyone to at least go through the list of GI products which are there, and also think about the product where the GIs can be registered, or we can do the GIs of those following products and start initiating it maybe from immediately. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very crisp and very objective remarks on GI products. Now I request Mrs. Sunita Rai, AGM of EPIDA, to kindly give us introductory remarks. Please, ma'am.
A very good morning to all present physically and present virtually also. We have different speakers from various institutes. So I welcome once again on behalf of EPIDA to all the experts, all the dignitaries and all the participants who have come to listen, to learn something for GI products. You know very well that Northeastern region is blessed with a variety of fruits and vegetables, medicinal plants and other herbal plants. So if you happen to see many of there are unique products which are inherent to the Northeastern region. Many of them also have obtained a GI tag. And to say that there are also other products which are in the process to get a GI tag. It is also very important to know that getting the GI tag is also proves that uniqueness and the origin of the place. So with this background, we thought that ICCA why not have better organize a GI program, which will be a awareness workshop of first of its kind for us also, because we have started this initiative of promotion of GI products nowadays, and then even the government of India is very serious in promoting the GI products of India. Many of it are under the agriculture and horticulture products, and which are also under the purview of EPIDA. And with this background, let me once again welcome on behalf of EPIDA and ICC to all the dignitaries, my colleague Mr. V.K. Pidati, General Manager from EPIDA Headquarters, the speaker, Mr. Subhash Bhattacharjee, who is the co-chairman from the Indian Chamber of Commerce, Agriculture, Horticulture, Food Processing Committee, NER, Dr. Jupi Gogoi, Associate Professor, National Law University and Judicial Academy, Assam, Mr. M. Habibullah, who is the Head Trademarks and GI Trademarks Registry, Chennai, Mr. Biswajit Sarkar, Advocate, IPR Attorney, Mr. Pradipta Kumar Bakshi, Advocate, IPR Attorney. All the participants and many of the officials also have joined virtually who has not been able to come. So once again, I on behalf of EPIDA would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and then welcome to this workshop. All the experts are headed and I will not deliver on the GI thing. Even my colleague Mr. V.K. Pidati is there. We will be delivering on the GI promotion activity which EPIDA has been doing. Very particular talking about Northeast, I would like to stress few points. Number one is that for promotion of GI products, we have been very serious, and then we have started organizing a lot of in terms of strategy. We have started doing a lot of strengthening of the backward linkage in terms of the production clusters. So in that also, it also means that whatever the training, the hand-holding support, the capacity building program that is required at the ground level, be it for the FPO or the FPC or the farmers or the entrepreneurs or the exporters, which we have started. And then it's a wide dimension subject. So all the subjects starting from the processing to the packaging and all the aspects are being taken care. And also in the marketing, promotion and branding, this is also very important. So for this also we have started doing holding a lot of awareness programs, lot of conference, exhibitions, B2B, and we also have started doing the International Buyer Summit, which we started first in the year 2019. And we just completed 3 Buyer Summits this year. We just did in March in Assam, Guwahati. We just finished with Meghalaya again in March, and this month in Arunachal. And then we are also planning to take up the other states which have not been touched as for the International Buyer Summit, where the exporters can get in touch with the international buyers directly, and the farmer, the producers can get in touch with the buyers, that is the national exporters directly. So this is one of the exchange kind of platform wherein I think many of them have been benefited, and then this initiative we are planning to take across, and then we will be doing in a very systematic and in a phase-wise manner in all the northeastern states. And I would also like to talk about something which is very important, is the training and capacity building. And I think this awareness workshop is also such of a kind. This is an awareness workshop, no doubt, but then this is also something which is a kind of handholding where you can get a lot of things which you never did before, and then you can, get a lot of information from today's workshop. So I will not take much time, and then I would like to ask because all the participants to listen to this workshop, because it's I think the first of its kind for us, for at least for a better, and then we plan to do again for all the states also. So because you have seen, and then you must have seen some of the products also has been displayed. When we talk about when we try to promote the products of the northeastern region in the national market, we need to have something very unique, and then we have very unique products. See, the people know the world's hottest chili, which has a GI tag, that is the king chili, that is from Nagaland, and you can see Tejpur lychee is also very famous. You can see that. You can see the black rice of Manipur, the Gaji Nipu of Assam. So this has got now significance, and then people across the world are knowing this. Gaji Nipu, you must have seen in the news that a lot of Gaji Nipu has been exported in the recent past. So the London market, they know very well. This is citrus variety, very juice, and it has a very different aroma and flavor which you will not find elsewhere in the country. So these are some of the very unique products like black rice, or say the red rice in Assam. And then we also got recently a lot of GI products, but then I think these are the unique products. And then when you go back also, when you negotiate with the buyers, I think we should say that this is a unique product, and then this is available only from this region. That is one of the upper edge, and then you can really negotiate it for the price. Everybody knows the world's first GI for India, that is the Darjeeling tea. So that is synonymous. Whenever we talk about GI, Darjeeling tea, everybody knows. Now even Assam tea, Orthodox tea, everybody knows. So this is the way how you do the branding, and then how you place your product also internationally across, not only in the international market, but also in the domestic market. With these few words, I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. We are very happy indeed that we are doing a workshop on specifically on GI along with EPIDA for the first time in Northeast. Now, I request Mr. V.K. Vidyarthi, sir, General Manager of EPIDA, to kindly give his address. V.K. Vidyarthi, sir, are you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are audible. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Kindly go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Once again, good morning to all the participants, and I want to extend my sincere thanks to the Indian Chamber of Commerce and all the participants, those who are joining this awareness workshop on geographical indication for agriculture commodities, especially from the Northeast. As you know that India has a very diversified agroclimatic conditions. As per the ICR, we have a 15 agroclimatic conditions and 20 types of the agroecological zone. So India has a very diversified country in terms of the agroecology and the environment especially. That's why we have a sizable range of products available, from temperate to the subtropical, tropical, and the other types of fruits, vegetables. So we have a wide range of fauna and flora across the India, which uh, help us to register our name in the worldwide as a leading agriculture producing and agriculture exporting countries. So I just want to request, and I want to just all the farmers and the participants, those or the GI activities. So we have to focus on the some points, especially for the we have to identify more GI products from the Northeast for the registration, and we have to initiate the process for their registration in the importing countries, so we can protect our GI products in the international markets. As of now, we have around this 150 agriculture products. Out of that, 123 agriculture products are of the scheduled products as a GI. And from the Northeast, at present, we have a 21 agriculture products. So we have to increase the basket and the number of agriculture products from the Northeast to showcase their strength as a native product. And many countries have designated their GI products as a native product, just like, for example, the China. And many countries are taking seriously and doing a lot of efforts for their promotion of their GI product. And one more thing I want to highlight is that first we have to develop the package of practices for the GI products, and we have to develop the export standards for the GI products also, because they have a unique characters and the specialty. And about the awareness programs and the exhibitions in India and the export promotion, most of the things has already been apprised by my colleague, Ms. Sunita Rai. And another point which I want to highlight, that to assure food safety, integrity, authenticity, traceability in digital form, we have to establish a forensic laboratories in the Northeast and across the country, so we can ensure the consumers that whatever he has demanded, whatever he has ordered for importation from India, he is getting the right product. So some of experts are there. I will request them that we have to, for product wise, we have to make their requirements like this, longitude, latitudes, and the sea level. So, and this all the DNA mapping of the products is very much required to authenticate our GI products in the international market. Apart from the forensic laboratories, I will suggest that we have to implement the ISO standards, which are being laid down by the ISO organization. The ISO 19115 was launched in 2014 by the ISO organization. So I request all the farmers, they must go for the ISO certification of their GI agriculture producing areas. So we will soon we will initiate a program wherein we will request all the GI farmers to register their name and the production area and all the details, so we can take an appropriate action for the promotion in the international market and to organize the awareness program, and whatever problems they are facing in the pre-harvest and the post-harvest management of the GI products, we will address them. And recently, APED has announced launched this mobile app. In the mobile app, I request all the farmers to use this mobile app and get more information on the GI. And another thing which I want to highlight that we are organizing the regular buyer seller meets for the GI products in India and the abroad also. And ministry recently in process of negotiating several trade negotiations with the many countries in the this trade agreements. or the bilateral trade agreements or multilateral trade agreements, Government of India is focusing special privilege for the GI products from India. So I will request if you have some suggestions in this regard, please send to us. In the past, only India has signed around 16 FTAs with many countries. So among the 16 trade agreements, only the 3 trade agreements there is a reference of the GI products. But in other trade agreements, we are just readdressing this GI issue in the trade agreement. So all our exporters of the GI products may get some special advantages while they export GI products from the India. So once again, I request all the participants and I request please go ahead, and it is a very important issue because it reflects our nativeness and ethnicity. And Government of India is bent upon to promote the GI products, and many other countries in the world also doing the same thing. So I request all the GI farmers come forward and go for the export of the GI products. Thank you very much. Now over to Sunita. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us from Delhi and given the points, key focus of EPIDA on GI products, especially for the northeastern region. And we are very happy that EPIDA is taking strong initiative in GI products around the country and marketing them and proper certifications of them. Now I request Mr. Suhas Bhattacharya, co-chairman of ICC Agriculture, Horticulture and Food Processing Committee, to kindly give his remarks. Sir, please.
Good morning, friends. Very nice. ICC and APEDA is taking up the initiative of taking GI ahead from Northeast, in the Northeast. I mean, 2003 probably in India, GI has come. And 2007-8, we started doing something on GI in the Northeast. Usually we are always in the backbencher. But in case of GI, because we have a lot of natural producers, exotic producers, and we have organic producers now getting certified. There are a lot of mileage on those. And friend, I don't know, GI. Well, friends, I am with Ruchi Soya Industries, both in Tanjavur. I'm heading their Northeast activities with Ruchi Soya. On that activities, of course, GI has not come plowing, but with my little experience earlier and good friends like Dr. Bakchi and of course our registration authority, I think who is coming from registration authority today? Okay, fine. So all those friends were there to guide us to take forward GI. Next slide, please. Next, you give 3 clicks. So this is Northeast, right? All of us know. I think we can skip here. Next slide. I'll just want to speak few sentences here because as I just told you, we have organic, we have exotic producers. Of late, there is a saying of natural. Government of India is flying on natural products in very big way. So keeping that in mind, the organic default situation of Northeast get a mileage with MOBCD NER, and now if we have those tags of GI on them, probably we get maximum mileage. Next slide, please. So this initiative initially, Dr. Vidyarthi, then Madam Sunita has already spoken. I just want to highlight here that to create awareness of intellectual property rights, the significance of GI in the Northeast is really, really much. And to build awareness of assorted support scheme, different ministries have got different support schemes. probably we will be able to take that lead. Because there was the issue 10 years back when we started. I was MD Naramek those days. We have started with the GI of horticulture produce, and those days among horticulture produce we started with Karbi Anglong ginger first, followed by Tezpur lychee, then Khasi mandarin, a number of things. Probably just before my retirement, the last documentation I have done is for Manipur black rice. Of course, that has come when I was associated with Simped. My friend from Simped is also here. Those days they got the GI on black rice. So that way, we have around 14 products out of 24, what Santosh has told. 14 are from the Northeast have been facilitated by through NARMAC and different other agencies. I was feeling shocked that nobody is from NARMAC today over here. I mean, this is very unfortunate because this is something which probably as a marketing organization would find as #1 tech as on date. To promote the export of the products, I remember the day I was talking to Sunita just now, when there was a shifting of Bothakurda to Angamadusar. Incidentally, both the chairman of APEDA are from Assam Meghalaya Tata. And that day, incidentally, I was with CF Tere, I was sitting with Sunita's office that day. So that day, I was just talking to Angamadusar, sir, since you are taking over, he is also a background of agriculture. And I'll tell you today very frankly on this forum, when he was DC of Karbi Anglong, that time the Karbi Anglong ginger has got a big face. Ginfed was created. They started with this SBI account. Those days we have done a lot of marketing of Karbi Anglong ginger. That was the first bite which is given out if we can do the Karbi Anglong ginger GI. Among the listed products, Karbi Anglong ginger. Then I told him, sir, usko to abhi aap now you're in the helm of affairs, you can take it forward. He told, karte hain na, usko karenge. So very nice that he has taken a chain of programs now. And I understand from Sunita that there is one society station in Mumbai, but they are basically on name as FIPS, Foundation of Innovative Packaging and Sustainability. They are also with the help of APEDA support putting up an export conference in, I think in administration of college. They are putting on 30th June a program, one full day program on export of natural, organic and GI products from Northeast. So there's another exclusive program on GI is coming with the chain of affairs started from ICC. Friends, there are a number of institutes making a lot of technologies on there. We have NIFTEM over Guwahati, we have CSR, CFTRI around, and we have many other universities. But those technology support can be utilized for the GI producers because GI is not only for the fresh producers, even we can think of making some different products out of it, get the mileage of global marketing. GI taking, of course, strategically problem. GI tech helps the producers of the region in a big way, not only for branding and marketing, what Sunita has already told, but they give an identity that yes, it is my product selling across, and you have a monopoly in many fronts. Suppose Karbi Anglong ginger, there is a presentation I brought in case anybody is interested how to apply for GI and what are the steps we should follow. So I thought I just brought that slide to show you that these are the steps you can follow and this is how we can submit your presentations to the department and take forward the authorities, the registration and all that. So GI tech actually facilitate and allow farming clusters, whatever cluster you are, to go for more production by increasing the volume of production, thereby increase the earnings. This is the thumb rule, what we know that when you grow the clusters, but if we have this particular product to take forward, then you have the mileage. Excuse me. The GI tech help producers substantiate their claim in fetching remunerative prices. All of us know. It increases their volume of production, raise the economy, as well as support entrepreneurs and value addition. Logos of approved GI tech will allow farmer clusters reap both in getting value of their produce and also involve rural mass with better scope of employment. That particular logo when you put in the product, suppose I'll just show that some of the logos of the GI producers registered there. So that is there in the package. Then what happens? Anybody will not ask, suppose I'm a consumer, I don't ask for because you can go to the tagline and based on the tagline you can find out the genesis, where it is coming and all that, how the quality front, everything. Similarly, the government of India initiative I already told you. So will you be interested to know about the exact definition of GI? In case you are interested, I can share with you something. It is a name or a sign used on certain products which corresponds to a specific geographical location or origin, like town, region, or country. Examples: Karbi Anglong ginger basically states about the particular district. Tezpur lychee, Sikkim large cardamom, Kachai lemon coming from that particular district of Manipur, then miso chili, that bird's-eye chili, then of course Manipur black rice. One interesting thing I'll tell you, when we are working on this GI, Khasi Mandarin government, because horticulture is a state subject. So a government, we are government of India corporation those days, Dharma Act. Even today it is a government of India company. That time we cannot just like that touch any horticulture produce of any state. So we had to have the permission of the horticulture department. So that time we wanted to go for lacquer and turmeric, but then they have not given that one. And today, of course, government of Meghalaya has applied for it, the process line. After the lacquer mission has come, they have applied for lacquer and turmeric. Those days we tried for that, and that time they told you could go for Khasi Mandarin. Khasi Mandarin, when we started working, in general, any agriculture fraternity guys, they know that Mandarin means it comes from Nagpur. Nagpur on it, Roga factory, doing a lot of things. Everything comes on that line. But when we started digging the informations, went to the university, AU Jorhat, they have given a lot of supplement to us from the library. Those days we are not having much of 7-8 part of Google details, So we had to take a lot of information from them. And ultimately, what happened, we found that it is that Mandarin which was growing in those days Assam, now geographically in Meghalaya, that were taken those days there, and they have gone for mass production because in Northeast we grow production in pockets. All of us know that. So that way, what happened? These people have taken it to the Maharashtra and grown it in extensively kilometer-wise production, and that way they have extensively grown. So that feeling of getting that particular Mandarin as their own product was never possible. So ultimately, Khasi Mandarin we could got with a lot of debates from Meghalaya. Like that, we have one more product from Meghalaya, that is Memang Tera, which is a forest produce. But the problem was there. Many a time, when you face a jury, there are around 14 to 15 officers, among them 2 or 3 IAS officers, and all are technocrats on agricultural line. The jury, I think I faced almost 11 or 12 jury there for those 11, 12 products those days. Black rice, of course, I have not faced that. On that jury, there are a lot of questions. You have to crisscross that. And that time I remember we have taken the National Steel Foundation of India, NSFI, many of you must be knowing. NSFI, you must have heard, we have taken their technology support because as and when you have the queries, there are a lot of information by sitting in Northeast, we are unable to get it. So we took the support to NSFI to give the technical inputs and all that. So keeping that in mind, we have found out that yes, if it is a genesis from that particular area, we can go for, and ultimately we can get succeed too. Of course, nurturing tea was the first. Similarly, this Orthodox tea of Assam was there. Incidentally, Ishantar was thinking the Nagaland government was not going about GI. But I have a small difference of opinion on Ishantar because the King Chili was done by government of Nagaland's Secretary Industries. I mean, it is long before Naramak plowed in for 11, 12 GI produced out of 24. So that way, probably the present scenario of Nagaland government not much of ever because King Chili Bhut Jolokia Jinomiko that has got a GI tag from Nagaland and Industry Department, Secretary Industries Government of Nagaland has got that GI tag. So that way, Northeast, of course, you are doing, but there are different types of GI, protected designation of origin, PDO. PDO means characteristics resulting solely from the terrain and ability of producers in the region of production with which they are associated. Then comes the protected geographical indication that I have told you. Why GI is to be protected? Kyun karna hai? That way you might, you have come here, okay, kyun GI nahi karne se kaun sa bahar chhod jaya? Nothing is going to happen. But yes, it happens here. Suppose today we are still now, APEDA is trying their best in different ways to get a buyer-seller meet and all that. So now a lot of people coming from outside, they are knowing our products, and if you have a GI tag, that becomes a tagline which gives you a monopoly. You can get more support. There are no competitors. Suppose I want Karbi Anglong ginger, there cannot be a ginger from any other place to compete with them. So that sort of support they get with this tagline. So denote quality and origin of products, madam already told you. Then good reputation for the product, preventing product from generic products. See, in general, generic products we know, it will prevent from the generic products, something exclusive. Then protecting the market from competitors. So that I already explained it just now. The advantage of GI, what we find is that legal protection and preventing from unauthorized use. I still remember, I think when we started with this GI tagline, there was a guy from Kerala. They are basically working on these spices. I don't know how to name that group. they wanted to have the implementation of GI tag of Karbi Anglong. And that time we have taken the opinion of our board of directors. Then it was told that no, let us not give to a third party outside. Let us wait for some of our entrepreneurs to come for utilizing the GI tag. See, as per the logo, I think Dr. Who is from Registration Authority will be talking on that line. So, as per the logo, they have to take a permission from, like Naramak has done this, so Naramak and also the Registration Authority. So, on that purpose, Naramak board has denied that particular reason is that हो सकता है कि 1, 2, 3 times it takes absolutely the Karbi Anglong ginger from here, and later there may be a lot of mixes which cannot be controlled. Of course, there are provisions to control that. There are I'll show the Karbi Anglong ginger slide. You will see that particularly there are 3 modes. There are local modes. There are 3 people are the horticultural clusters people. Then the organization who has got the GI tag, their management people, and Uttarakhand district authority are there to ensure the quality front and all that, whether they're using or not. But then sometimes it becomes difficult to control. That's why it was not given. So this is what I want to just. Then as I told you that reduces the unfair practices, preserving local culture and resources, provide complete information to the consumers. Once a GI tag produce is marketed with that code line, you can get the details of that particular product. So this is their GI in India. I think it's keep. Can go to the next slide. Next. I think I can skip the gear. Go to the. So what we understood in last 4-5 slides is that GI is a form of intellectual property right for which all of us are here, which provide exclusively a legal protection to a product in a defined geographical area. It helps a community of producers. Basically, in Northeast, we know very much about the clusters to differentiate their products in the market and build goodwill, which often fetches a premium price. The word often has been distinctively used because some products which may not have a big market price, but you should not think that it's a thumb rule, whatever I do, I can get a good price. For the consumers, GI act as a stamp. जैसे हम लोग डिपार्टमेंटल स्टोर में जाते हैं, कहाँ भी जाते हैं ना, as a consumer, you see the product, it's a GI tag product, it works as a stamp. GI tag, obviously it is from a particular source once it is controlled under the system, which help them to identify genuine quality product. India enacted the Geographical, as I told you, 2003, and then our GI has come into system. GI is given to identify agriculture, natural manufactured goods processing, certain special qualities characteristics based on climatic production conditions unique to that particular geographical location that we are discussing last 15 minutes. It is basically an initiative to preserve and promote the biodiversity of the region and helps farmers secure better remuneration for their produce. Northeastern already has agro-horticultural communities coveted GI, around 24 are there, thus giving them the much needed recognition. They are belong especially for the region and are legally protected from being produced, processed, and valued products. The legal protection and other things, Professor Madam is there, and Mr. Parchi is there. They'll be strong enough to talk about the legal protection scenario. How the registration process goes in India. Agricultural goods include the production, processing, trading, and dealing. They can go. As a trader, Naramak went for making GI tag to support the northeastern farmers. Natural goods includes exploiting, trading, or dealing. So they also can obtain the GI registration process. Then handicrafts, of course, we are not coming in this today's discussion. How do we go to apply for GI? Geographical signification of the indication, class of goods, what it is, that particular area or where it is grown, then it is the quality part, appearance, particular producer, what is this basic funda, then affidavit deposing the applicant's right to become the registration. So that is usually the how when you apply for GI, it is a process to be taken care of. Then register will assess the application. Habibullah Sahib is there, he will explain that. They will assess the application and get the application exam. After the application, it will be published in the GI journal. In that process, there are a number of juries where you have to face technical input, whether it is fact or not fact, lot of information is there. After it is published in the GI journal, notice of opposition within a maximum period of 4 months of publication in the GI journal is given. That particular notice period, globally, anybody can object. We know about Rasagullah fighting, right? Orissa and Bengal, West Bengal. So that way, that's how after the notice of opposition only that situation come. So they are given 4 months of time globally to fight out whether you have got any protest on that particular thing. If it is how it is and all that, then if the registered accept the application, then a certificate of registration is issued. and how the process goes. Process goes like this: filling up the application, examine it, then acceptance will be taken by the authority, then it goes for the GI journal as I told you, then entered in the GI registry if everything is smooth, and registration is given. If it is not smooth, if there is some opposition, then allowed or refused based on the inputs they are giving. So that takes a long process. And for us, when we are doing my little experience, I'll tell you, for Memang Nerang, a particular citrus from Meghalaya, that particular is a forest produce. So like Khasi Mandarin, we got very easily. But for Memang Nerang, probably we took more than 7-8 months extra time than any other products. Because forest clearance was there, required state level forest to give clearance, then government of India level they have to give clearance. There are some issues probably that Habibullah and other people can explain on that, how best it is done. These are the certificates usually given. This is Karbi Anglong ginger ke liye hai. This is how the certification, GI certification looks like. And this is the particularly entry made and part of the register. Record mein hi rehta hai. Now, how do you think of boosted marketing? Because many GI producers are even certified organic. We know that in Northeast, and they are lined up for export. But BETA is doing now to give facilitation to the farmers and clusters. So this is our Karbi Anglong ginger. In my hand is the first GI, so we have a lot of belongings for that. So this is the world's finest organic ginger. Then we have many other producers like Kaji Nemo, already Madam has told, Choco rice from Assam, Memang Nerang, I told you just now, black rice from Manipur, Kachai lemon, Khasi Mandarin, Meghalaya, Mizo chili, Naga tree tomato, Naga mircha, like it continues, Tripura queen pineapple, Dalek Kursani from Sikkim, then Sikkim large cardamom. So all these products are of course GI, like that it continues. And these are some of the logos of the new GI registry products. This particular logo will be embossed in the packaging once you market that. So these logos, this is for Arunachal orange, then Assam Karbi Anglong ginger, Tejpur lychee, Naga tree tomato, then we have got Mizo chili, Memang Nerang, I told you like that, Tripura queen pineapple, Sikkim large cardamom. So this is what happened. This is one particular thing. I think this is not exactly for GI only, not only GI, even other producers. We have a book was authored by me where we have tried to highlight how we can make a lot of value additions and all that. And our Niti Aayog member has launched it in the 2021 in Delhi. That book, and with one more interesting thing I would say, some of the GI producers, because they are not in much volumes. So what we preferred, we should go for a mobile processing. In my book, that particular book, we have recommended that, and Government of India has been very happy to know that Government of India has accepted this. And now there is an organization called NECTAR, Northeast Center for Technology and Research. They, then CFTR and Mysore, they together are putting up this recommendation, or whatever has been given in that book by me, that has been accepted by Government of India, and they're putting up this mobile processing units funded by the institute and by the institute NECTAR and technology support from CFTR. This will be putting up in the state of Meghalaya to start with, one Meghalaya and one in Assam. So this will be basically for those clusters where the GI producers are there that can be processed and go for proper packaging and marketing. So importance of branding of GI products, all of us know it is a powerful tool which can be leveraged both for identification and differentiation. Must you know that identification and differentiation is something, whenever you go to see whatever we do, even we want to, out of 5 people who want to make ourselves visible, so we want to give something extra. Hat ke bolte na log. So like that, the identification and differentiation is marked for branding, and that gives a GI user tag on that. Then brands add values to the consumers as it gives quality assurance and the benefit of authenticity. That's why GI has got a tagline. They create value for local communities through products that are deeply rooted in the tradition, culture, and geography. This is something intellectual property gives some mileage through GI. And I believe our region has to have this tag to take forward. So developing a brand based on the GI will help producers, exporters effectively explore the commercial potential and take it forward for better marketing and selling of the produce and society development, or whatever we know that number of XYZ developments are happening, all that can happen. Advantage is this: it facilitates product diversification, market share can be increased, facilitates faster market of penetration, you can go inside, enables greater trade cooperation. This is a must through GI we get. Then supports sustainable livelihoods and preservation of traditional knowledge. This is what the lust is something in the Northeast. We always try to prefer that feeling. Wherever we go, wherever we develop, ultimately the tradition and culture we should maintain and keep it. So that way, GI gives you a lot of advantage. The branding provides to the consumers. Suppose now we are talking about from farmer side or the cluster side or the producer side. When it comes to me or you or anybody consumer, then what reduces the search cost of consumer. Don't get Google खोल के ढूंढ रहा है ये फलाना product कहाँ मिले. Once you know that yes, this is a particular product available, you can directly go on the GI tagline and take it. So that way, reduce the search cost can be reduced and provides self-expressive and emotional benefits. जैसा मैं बोल रहा था आपको कचाई लेमन, you know about this Manipur. That was the lunch we were taking, and a very beautiful lemon was served to me also. When the CFTRA has developed a project in Manipur, very interior area, they are growing this kachai lemon. The Victor was there, our earlier CM's son. Victor was telling me, "Sir, इसको try करो, इतना बढ़िया है." तो उसको try तो किया हम लोग. It was very juicy and absolutely good one. Then we thought, okay, kachai lemon के लिए try करते. The horticulture director we spoke, can you recommend us? And he told, okay, you can take it forward. And really, we got from Manipur the first GI tag was for kachai lemon. So that's how self-expressive emotional benefits. मतलब इसका advantage जो है, quality जो है, then it comes in your mind and it goes on. So the confidence in purchase decision and user satisfaction, that is something great for the consumer side. When you know that this particular product is very good, excellent, you got the specifications here meeting what you really want, that way it can get confidence. So the consumer sides, these are very three verticals. Of course, there are many, but these three verticals we felt that consumers can really think of when you go for a GI registered product. Branding and marketing strategy, I think I don't discuss it yet, but then if you want to say, it will result in awareness of GI products amongst target customers, protection of market share, increased market penetration, as I already told you, higher unit value realization. So this is something which gives you the strategy. See, though we are writing 1, 2, 3, 4, strategy depends on how you strategize yourself a particular product. So I'll not dictate that, but I feel that the benefits you get by strategizing the GI market is like this. Other GI products already we told. And these are something where I want to highlight. It's excellent that today APEDA is, with the ICC is organizing the first ever event. But before that, we also organized some workshop on post-GI registration, marketing and production initiative. Of course, long back. After that, of course, things have not taken forward. But this is something thankful to ICC and APEDA. And one more great thing, FIPS with the support of APEDA is doing that on 30th June. So such things should continue because GI we can really establish. Northeast can really get good mileage out of it. So there are different assorted products, all GI tech products from Northeast. I mean, these three words I'm using. These particular slides. Slides are na. Aap kahan baithte ho yaar? Next. Yeah. These are all GI registered products from Northeast. See, black rice there, lemon juice is there, like that. So with these few words, I want to say that marketing, when we are in Naramik, just before 2017 World Food India, we tried to give organic and super food of Northeast. That particular line we have given particular stall for GI. Vindathi sir also, GM APEDA was also there. I still remember him. He visited that area. Next slide, please. Next slide. This is for organic what we are supporting the MOBCD projects of Northeast. Like that, we used to give lot of supplements to the farmers producers. So similar things now APEDA is doing excellently good, and we wish all of you should take the benefit of this biosolar meat or GI tech producers for taking forward. Next slide. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody. And I'm here for another half an hour or so, and we'll be happy to associate and discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience on GI products, especially highlighting on the marketing aspects and the brand promotion possibilities of GI products. Now we have Dr. Jyoti Gogoi, Associate Professor of Natural Law University and Judicial Academy in Assam. I request ma'am to come to give her presentation and remarks. At the same time, I would say that we have display of GI products
of some of the GI products of the Northeast region here. And once this session is over, we'll have some interactive session also, question and answer session. So please prepare your questions according to the speeches and remarks. Please, ma'am.
A very good morning to all of you. First of all, I thank Indian Chamber of Commerce and APEDA for providing me this opportunity to be amongst you in this geographical indications awareness workshop. So I would like to start the discussion. I mean, we have had enlightening discourses right before me. We have heard Bhattacharya sir, who spoke a lot on the post-management strategies that we require. However, I would start my discussion or presentation by starting with the concept of what is geographical indication. And for that, I have put in some very simple questions which will probably make us understand what geographical indications actually mean. So there are 4 questions that you can see in the slide in front of you. That for a tea drinker, why would a tea drinker prefer Assam tea or Darjeeling tea over other tea from different places? For example, Kangra tea from Himachal Pradesh. Why do people prefer Assam tea or Darjeeling tea? The second question is, in Assam, this is the lychee season. We all know, we all are buying lychee. But when we go to the market to buy lychee, and we come to know that there are Tejpur lychees in the market, which is maybe slightly more expensive. It's a little bit more expensive, but if we have the financial capacity, we would prefer to buy the Tejpur lychee over the other lychees in the market. And that is the reason why the second question is asked. Why, when there are different lychee varieties in the market, why is a consumer willing to pay a little more and buy the Tejpur lychee? The third question is why people prefer Nagpur oranges. And the fourth question is, why do people prefer Japanese technology over other technologies? Let's say somebody goes to a shop to, let's say, buy a phone, and they see, or a camera maybe, and there's a made in Australia camera, a made in Japan camera with the same specification. So naturally, a consumer would prefer the made in Japan camera over the made in Australia camera. And we have to understand the reason why the consumer prefers these products. Next slide. The reason is very simple. The answer is very simple, because we consider that these products are of premium quality. We consider Assam tea to be of premium quality, Darjeeling tea to be of premium quality. We consider Tejpur lychee to be better than the other lychees in the market. In the Indian market, we consider Nagpur oranges to be better than the other oranges. We consider Japanese technology, the Japanese people, to be really skilled in technology. So we definitely prefer Japanese technology over other technologies. Next slide. Now, what is the object of the GI law? Why do we have a GI law? What is the importance of the GI tag? The first answer is that the GI law prevents others to use the GI tag, reputation and goodwill of the original product. So it means that, let's say the GI registration is granted to, let's say, Tejpur lychee. So there will be other lychee sellers in the market. There will be other lychee sellers in the market. You cannot stop them from selling lychees just because you have registered Tejpur lychees. But what you can stop is that you can stop them from using the GI tag saying that it is coming from Tejpur. They will continue selling their lychees, they will continue selling their oranges, they will continue selling the other products, but they cannot say that this lychee is coming from Tejpur, this orange is coming from Nagpur. So that is what the GI law actually does. So the GI law prevents others while selling similar products to use the GI tag of the product if it does not originate from that place. So we know that there is another GI product, which is the Bikaneri bhujia. Now bhujia is made everywhere. Bhujia is made in Guwahati also. But the question is that nobody can stop the bhujia makers from making the bhujia and selling it in the market. What the GI tag does is that while selling the bhujia, you cannot say that it's a bhujia which is manufactured in Bikaner. That is what, in simple words, the GI tag does. Next slide. Now we need to understand what is the true intention or what is the true purpose of the GI law. Because when we read the law, and because I come from the legal background, it becomes very important to understand why was the law brought in, what is the objective of the law. And when we read the GI Act, there is no as such a provision in the law which says this is the reason why the GI law was brought into place. But because we have been studying this subject, reading papers, listening to important people, specialists in this area, we have come to understand that the true purpose of the GI law can be understood from three perspectives. The first one is that it helps the producers of the GI products to fetch a premium price, to fetch a high price. Why? Because GI products are high quality products. So when there's a high quality product, you're supposed to get extra prices or higher prices because it's a high quality product. So that's the first intent of the GI law. The second intent is it helps consumers to identify the genuine product. So when you see the GI logo, I think the Chachi sir was also talking about it. So when a consumer, let's say I am going to the market to buy Muga silk, and I am confused right now because there are so many duplicate products in the market, because there's so much of duplication of silk in the market. When I'm paying so much of money to buy Muga silk, I also want a kind of guarantee that what I'm buying is a genuine product, right? So the GI tag kinds of assures me as a consumer that what I'm buying is a kind of authentic product. Just like the silk mark of India. When you see a silk mark, you know that it's a genuine silk product. So it's like a mark which helps the consumer to identify a genuine product. And of course, the third point, it can lead to the socio-economic development of local tribal and indigenous communities. Who commits the maximum number of suicides in India every year? The farmers. Who are the second category of people who commits the maximum amount of suicides in India? The artisans. And when you talk about what kind of goods are protected under the GI Act, it is agricultural goods, handicraft products, foodstuff, natural products. So these two vulnerable communities, the farmers and the artisans, we can help them if the GI law is properly managed and we can actually reap the benefits of the GI law. If we can fetch the premium prices, we can kind of assume that probably this profit will go down to the producers of the product. And the producers of the product means for some products, the farmers and the artisans. So this can lead to the socio-economic development of local indigenous communities.
Morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Hearing office में लक्ष्मी कोडनानी करके
Alright, so it can lead to the socio-economic development of local tribal and other communities. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so the presentation that I'm trying to give here is certain pre and post-registration concerns. So there are many pre-registration concerns, and of course, because I have been given only an allotted time and I have to stick to that of 20 minutes. So I am just going to discuss 1-2 problems that we have. The first one is, in the pre-registration stage, we need pre-registration consultation and involvement of all producers. Now, in that context, I want to talk about a recent controversy that has happened in Assam only with regard to the Gamusa GI registration case. I know it's not exactly related to agriculture, but we can take lessons out of it when we are trying to file for GI registration of, agricultural products as well. Now, the GI registration of Gamusa was filed by the Institute of Handicraft Development. It is basically an NGO based in Golaghat, who was facilitated by Assam Agricultural University. Now, when their GI application was advertised by the GI registry in Chennai, there was the opposition or objection filed by STEP, Assam Science, Technology and Environmental Council, and the Directorate of Handloom and Textiles Government of Assam. Next slide, please. There were six grounds of opposition. I'm not going to discuss the 6 grounds, but 3 of them. The first one, the 4th ground, is very important because when you give the GI application, probably we have resource persons who might talk about the application process. And in the application process, you have to describe the product, right? So when the application was given by this NGO, they and facilitated by Assam Agricultural University, they said that there are different varieties of gamusa in Assam. You can see the last sentence. There's a Uka gamusa, there's a Fulang gamusa, there's a Bikua, Tioni, Pani gamusa, etc. But in the opposition, they said that one kind of gamusa called the Bukhai gamusa was not included. Now see, had it been registered like this without the objection, what a blunder it would have been. Because the weavers who were weaving the Bukhai gamusa, they could not have used the GI tag. And they would have felt, very aggrieved by it because they are also weaving gamusa, it's just a different kind of gamusa. But because they were not consulted in the pre-registration state, all the stakeholders were not consulted before the registration, it created a problem. So whenever we are filing for a GI registration in the pre-registration stage, it is important that there are representatives from different stakeholders. And if you have different forms of the same product, it is very important. See, I am specialized in law, not of agriculture, but the readings that I have done, I have realized that when you are filing for an agricultural product as a GI, you have to give definition of the product. You have to talk about what is the speciality of the product. Let's say you're talking about rice. You will include the starch amount, or the other kind of properties of it. Let's say the rice is grown in the entire North Bank, right? Let's say from Dhemaji to, to Udalguri, let's say, just an example. Now, you kept in mind how the exact properties of the rice, let's say in Dhemaji, in Sonitpur, in Lakhimpur, but you missed out on one point, let's say somewhere in Udalguri. But they are growing the same rice. So when but in the definition of the rice, you did not include the properties which is there in Udalguri. Later, it is a problem. Why? Because in GI, you have to adhere to the quality. If you don't adhere to the quality, it will create confusion. So this property which was not included because the stakeholders from Udalguri were not consulted in the pre-registration stage, it leads to confusion and maybe debates and even controversies at the later stage. So this is something that we need to avoid. Next slide, please. And now the other objection, another objection which was raised was that the map which indicates that in these districts, gamusa is produced, the objection said that the map should have included the whole of Assam, but when it was filed by the NGO, they did not include 9 districts, which is again problematic. So if you are not stating the entire area of production where it is happening, later obviously it will be problematic. Let's say there's one district where they have not included it, that they don't, that the weave counts are there. So if they want to use the GI tag, they will not be able to use the GI tag. So that's very problematic. So we know the second point, the GI application needs a lot of details defining the product method of production. So in case of gamusa, let's say some weavers were using 80 thread counts, some were using 100 thread counts, but you only included 100 thread counts. So the other weavers are at a disadvantage. We want to avoid that. So it is required that there is a pre-registration consultation, and after that the GI registration is filed. Can you please move to the next slide? Now, the importance of aid and advice of specialists and institutions, we have understood that, the GI is a subject which requires the specialized people of not just one branch, of different branches. We need, if you're talking about agricultural products, we need people from agriculture, we need people from law because you have to file the registration, of course. But you need, geologists, you need historians because you need proof of history, proof of origin, right? So you need historians also. But what we have seen, let's say in case of Neramet, which I was talking about, or Apeda, which NAM is a part of, these institutions may not have a problem with regard to maybe in the post-registration stage. They are slightly in a better of condition, I might say. But let's talk about a recently registered GI from Assam, Judima, which is a rice wine of the Dimasa community. And it was registered by an organization of the members of Dimasa, Yadev, right? So youth of association of the Dimasa group. So they registered. Now the point is that these people do not have, they don't have marketing strategists. So they do not have trade and commerce experts because they're just a representative body. So registration is done, okay. But in the post-registration stage, because you want to ultimately help the Dimasa community who is involved in the rice or wine making process. So if you don't involve these people, how is it going to work? So we need somewhere, I don't know, maybe at a state level, we need to have certain sessions, how we coordinate, how, GI registration can be filed by different applicants, but how we can pull in the experts from different fields is an area that really needs to be worked upon. So this is something that I wanted to discuss. The next point. The post-registration concerns in India, of course, sir was also talking about the quality concern. So I have just put the picture of Alfonso mangoes because this is something, which I came to know. Alfonso mangoes is like really loved by it's one of the major exports of India. It's liked by people in India, outside India as well. But in 2014, I believe a lot of people might be aware about it. European Union banned Alfonso mangoes from India. And it actually affected the India-European Union ties also, trade ties also. And the reason why, because you have to understand that these countries are very, very specific about the quality parameters. They're very, very particular about the quality parameters, which in India probably we don't adhere to so much. But when you're talking about, because GI product, you have to understand, it cannot be limited to just local markets. Not just in national markets, we have to also aim the international markets. And the moment we say international markets, quality parameter is of paramount importance. Because they were not adhering to certain quality parameters which was required by the European Union. All these mangoes which were exported by India were sent back to India, thereby affecting it. So quality concern is is a major concern. Quality concern of Banarasi silk is a major problem. Because Banarasi silk, we can mix so much of silk, and there's so much of cheap imitation coming from Surat and from China, that there's a major problem in case of Banarasi silk, especially in North India during weddings and all. Banarasi sari is something which is sought after, and it's very expensive. So, but the point is that when you're buying it, you're not sure about the authenticity, the quality of the product. So that is very problematic. So the quality parameter has to be maintained in case of the GI products. The next slide. And of course, brand building, which Sir was really harping upon, and 2-3 things. So I'm not going to talk about how we can build the brand building, but I'm going to talk about a small case study which I was reading in WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization's case study, that of Colombian coffee. Now, Colombia grew coffee for a very, very long period of time, but even the major coffee drinking countries like America did not know about it. And the growers of coffee in Colombia felt that this is very problematic. The Colombian coffee growers had a group called FMC, right? So they were like, how do we introduce it in the North American markets? Because one, it's a developed country, people are willing to pay more because if it's a good quality product. But the question is that they don't even know that Colombian coffee exists. So how do we introduce it in the American market? So probably they had the money enough, the funding enough, which in India I have understood it's a major concern. However, what they did was they consulted an advertising firm in America. Sorry, in New York City. Now this advertising firm in New York City created an imaginary character. This person who is there is an imaginary character they built, this advertising agency called Juan Valdez, who is seen in the advertisements. He was shown as a Colombian man having coffee plantations where he would ride on his horse, handpick Colombian coffee and show the entire process, thereby creating an image in the mind of the American consumers that Colombian coffee is handpicked. It is done, the coffee production method is done with utmost care, and it's a very premium product. So repeated advertisement of this advertisement, which was done by the New York-based agency by the coffee growers in Colombia. In North America, because of the repeated advertisements, they were able to create a market. They were able to introduce Colombian coffee in the American markets, right? However, the next slide. However, we know that this requires a lot of money. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, but this requires money. This requires funding. When they hire the New Year agency, advertising agency, they must have paid money. But the question is that when we talk about the Indian GI products, right, and in the post-marketing strategy, the thing is that we have, let's say, Kardiangang ginger, we have Tejpur lychee, we have so many unique varieties of products, GI products from Northeast India. But the point is that are these products known outside Northeast India? I was in Delhi for the last 14 years. Nobody in Delhi knows about Kaji Nimu. Maybe a very close friends of mine, because I take it and they would say, "Ye kaun sa itna bada aam hai?" You know, they would just tell me because they would not even consider it to be a lemon. So the awareness is not there. The marketing strategy, so I was talking about, but let's just add a few points. That, you know, from awareness creation to introducing the product to the consumers to experiment it for the first time to making it a habit is something which requires a proper market analysis, and for that you need funding. So GI registration, we are registering so many GIs in India, 417 GIs so far, but is registration the end? It's not the end. It's the first step towards meeting the real goal of fetching a premium price, which is eventually going to benefit the producers, the farmers, the artisans, and the other manufacturers of that product. So for that, we require post-registration management strategies, which requires fund. So I think the government's role is vital, because when funding comes, you know, the government's role is vital. So we also need to have brainstorming sessions, how we can, you know, kind of persuade the government to give funds, you know, maybe in Assam, let's say GI is registered. Can we persuade the government of Assam that as an incentive, give them maybe 5 to 10 lakh rupees for advertising? Can it be done? I'm just putting in an input. I don't know if it can be realized or if it can be realized, how it can be realized, but something like that, because the funding is a major concern. The previous slide. Yeah, and then the last point that I want to discuss, that we need to introduce it in the foreign markets. And this is a legal point that I want to state, that India sadly is still not a signatory to an important international international treaty on geographical indications, that is the Lisbon Agreement and the Geneva Act and the Lisbon Agreement. So now what we have to do, if there is somebody who is interested for a GI registration in the foreign countries, they have to go to the foreign countries, catch hold of a lawyer in the foreign countries, pay a hefty amount of money, wait for months together to get the GI registered. But if you become a member of the Lisbon Agreement, and particularly the Geneva Act of the Lisbon Agreement, you have an international registration process where you give one single application, they will forward the application to these different countries where you want the GI registration, right? So we have to target foreign countries. We have to remember that, you know, economic capacity of the consumers is very important. We are introducing a high quality product, which is of premium price. So we have to also target countries, you know, we have to target countries who have the capacity to buy these products at a higher price. So for that, I feel from the legal perspective, becoming a signatory to this international treaty is very, very important. And of course, we need unique strategies. This is not my domain, but this is the domain of the marketing strategists, unique strategies for promoting Indian GIs in foreign countries. So this is what I wanted to share, my little thoughts with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting us know actually what GI is and what the difficulties and requirements of marketing. You have given it a very simplified manner. Now we have Mr. M. Habibullah, who is the head of Geographical Indication India from Chennai. Now, I request Mr. Habibullah sir to kindly give his address. Sir, am I audible to you, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. Good morning, all. Am I audible?
You are very much audible.
Okay. Good morning, all. Hearty welcome to dignitaries and the participants. I am here, Habibullah, Assistant Registrar of Trademarks and GI. Actually, we follow the three P's, letter P. The preamble of to act as an assistant registrar or a registrar of GI, we follow three P's. What are the three P's? We provide, protect, and prevent. What do we provide? We provide registration of GI. What do you protect? We protect registration of GI in respect of goods. What do we prevent? We prevent fraudulent marks, fraudulent GIs. So these three P's we follow while providing registration of GI. So I am happy to be here, and I thank the organizers for conducting this awareness program to promote the GI products. As a whole, there are about 420 registered GIs in India, 420 registered GIs in India. Especially in Northeast region, there are about 33 registered GIs. If you have patience, I will read out what are the registered GIs in Northeast region. The first one is Arunachal Orange. Second is Idu Mishmi Textiles. Third is Muga Silk of Assam. Because you people are from northeastern region, I want to bring to your notice the registered GIs. Because these registered GIs are the hidden treasure of India. These registered GIs have to be protected. So these GIs, if you see Muga Silk of Assam, Assam Karbi Anglong Ginger, Tezpur Lichi, Johar Rice of Assam, Boka Chaul, Chokua Rice of Assam, Kaji Nemu, Judima, Chakhao, Shapilam P, Wanki P, Moirong P, Kachai Lemon, Temenglong Orange, Hati Chili, Mimong Narang, Kasi Mandarin, Mizo Chili, Taulhao Kwan, Mizo Puanchi, Poundong, NGO Techer, H. Hemram, Mizo Ginger, Naga Mircha, Chaki Sang Chol, Naga Cucumber, Naga Tree Tomato, and Tripura Queen Pineapple. These are the 33 registered GIs from the northeastern region. Actually, there are many hidden treasures in northeastern region. I hope this kind of awareness program will bring more hidden treasures for protection. As far as the practice and procedure followed by the GI registry in India, I have a PowerPoint presentation which I will show you what is the practice and procedure followed in India for filing GI application. So these we are telling this because you will go back and you will give more awareness among the artisans and weavers and other original producers of the product. So I'll start sharing the PowerPoint presentation, the geographical indication system in India. You are able to see the PPT? Hello?
Yes, sir. You can see.
So the examples of geographical indications I have given here. Many of these you might be aware. The most prominent is Basmati and Kashmir Pashmina and Mysore silk, Tirupati Laddu, Madhubani paintings, Naga Mircha. So these are the famous registered GIs. So as you all know, India is a rich storehouse of goods with reputation or quality, which can be adduced to the geographical origin or place of manufacture. So there are about 420 registered GIs in India. So this we have made a small screen of where are the registered GIs are existing in each state. So now coming to the concept of GI, why this GI evolved? Because see, there are about genuine premium products such as silk, cotton, spices, wines. They were having different characteristics from a particular region. So these kind of genuine premium products have to be protected because they are over a period of time it has globally become renowned. So there has been a rising demand among the consumers. So what has happened? It gave rise to the counterfeit products. In order to safeguard the interest of the producers and consumers, a concept was evolved to create a geographical indication. The whole idea revolving around that is a product originating from a particular place with some unique quality or characteristic should not be falsely represented as originating from some other place. So in order to protect the artisans, weavers, and original producers, an act was enacted that is called Geographical Indication of Goods Registration Protection Act 1999. This act was enacted after India becoming a signatory to TRIPS. Our geographical indication registry is set up in Chennai, and our head of the department is the Controller General of Patents, Designs, and Trademarks, and he is also called the Registrar of Geographical Indications. So the main objectives of the legislation is to have a specific law governing the geographical indication of goods in the country, so that it can protect the interest of the producers of such goods. The next is the objective of the legislation is to exclude unauthorized persons from misusing geographic indication and to protect consumers from deception. The third point is to promote goods bearing Indian geographical indications in the export market. So what are the main features of the Indian GI Act? If you see that in the Indian GI Act, we have a wider definition of GI and goods. We have a registration procedure. We have a concept of authorized user. This is the uniqueness of the GI Act, where we have a concept of authorized user. We have a higher level of protection, additional protection. Unlike in trademarks, we cannot assign the registered GI. There is a prohibition of assignment or a transfer of GI. So another protection is foreign GIs can be protected. So as done in the trademarks, publication of accepted GI in the GI journal and authorized users also in GNI journal. There are civil and criminal remedies available for infringement. there is a provision of cancellation and rectification of registered GI. So these are the main features of Indian GI Act. Many of the speakers have told you about the definition of the GI. I don't want to reproduce the same, but I will tell you what can qualify as a GI. So before that, I will tell you some provisions of the GI Act, what it provides for. The Indian Act provides for dual registration. It provides for Part A and Part B. So Part B will contain, Part A will contain the registered GIs. Part B will contain the authorized users registration. The registered authorized users list is contained in the Part B registration. So unlike in trademarks, trademark is related to goods and services, but in GI, registration protection of GI related to goods only. Registration of producers of registered geographic indications as authorized users. So these are the uniqueness in the GI Act. So now I have told you about, I will tell in detail about what qualifies as a geographical indication. Now, if you go back to the artisans or weavers or original producers of GI product, so what you have to see is, you have to see that it qualifies 5 parameters. One is it originates from the particular geographical area. The GI should originate from a particular geographical area. Second is there should be a linkage with geography and the product. It can be direct or indirect. The third is reputation of the product. The reputation can be local, national, or international level. The fourth is historical origin. The fifth is uniqueness and quality of the product. How it differentiates with other product and how quality is consistently maintained. So these 5 parameters we follow to evaluate a GI application. First one is it should originate from the particular area, geographical area. There should be a linkage. Third is there should be a reputation. Fourth is historical origin. And fifth one is uniqueness. So if you produce documents showing all these 5 parameters, you qualify to be registered GI. So what are the protection under the GI Act? So the Indian GI law has been structured to protect different kinds of goods as GIs. The goods have been divided under 3 main categories: agricultural, natural, manufactured. Under manufactured goods, we have subcategories which includes handloom, textiles, goods of industry or industrial goods, foodstuffs and wines and spirits. Another provision in the GI Act is section 21F of the Indian GI Act. Now I come to the examples of the different goods. What I have mentioned earlier, agricultural, natural and manufactured. In agricultural goods, we can find Basmati, Darjeeling tea, Kangra tea, Alfonso, Uttarakhand Tejpat. Natural goods, Makarana Marble. In this Makarana Marble, we have got a lot of historical documents. Taj Mahal is built by this Makarana Marble only. So in this Agra region, the Makarana Marble is found, and it is now a registered GI. So coming to the manufactured goods, handicrafts, if you see pottery, stone sculpture, wood carving, metal craft, the blue pottery of Jaipur, Mahabalipuram stone sculpture, Konark stone, carving, Agra marble inlay work, Channapatna toys, etc. Under handloom, textile, embroidery, You can find Banaras sari and brocades, Pulkari, Pochampalli cut, Mysore silk, Patan Potala, Kashmir Pashmina, Muga silk of Assam, and Kashmir Sozani craft, etc. Coming to the footsteps, you can find out Dharwad Peda, Hyderabad Halim, Bangla Rasagulla, Beginner Bujia, and Ratlami Save. Coming to the industrial goods, you can find out Coimbatore wet grinder, Meerut scissors, Kanauj attar. In wines and spirits, you can find out Feni and Nashik Valley wine. So, while what are the prohibitions of registration of certain geography indications? Yes, it should not hurt the religious susceptibilities of any class or section of citizens of India. So, if it hurts religious susceptibilities, so it is prohibited for registration. This provision is available in the Trademarks Act also. Under Section 9F, generic terms are prohibited, like Mysore Pak, which is a sweet dish from Mysore, and Kolhapur masala and Solapur chutney. So, because it has, due to passage of time, it became generic. So, this kind of generic terms are prohibited for registration as a GI. Actually, vodka from Russia has also become generic. If you see the vodka belt, Russia, Finland, Poland, it has become generic and is being used by countries of vodka belt. So now coming to this is the main part of the registration of a GI. I'm going to tell you about the application for registration of GI. So application can be filed by any association of persons or producers or any organization or authority established by under law representing the interests of producers of the concerned goods. Actually, in trademarks law, an individual can file an application, but as per GI law, it can be filed by any association of persons or producers of any organization. This is the main difference here, because in trademarks law, it creates an individual right, but in GI Act, it creates a community right. Okay. Application for registration of GI is made in the form 1A to 1D. So please note this point. Application for registration of GI is done in form GI 1A to 1D. It should be accompanied by prescribed fees of ₹5,000 per class. Application is required to be accompanied by a statement of case. It should be accompanied by certified copy of the map of geographical area of protection and documents in support of origin. So while filing application for registration of GI, you should accompany a statement of case, because it originates from particular geographical area. You should provide a certified copy of the map of geographical area protection, and there should be a supporting documents proving the origin. So next is I have to make a clear specific direction given in the GI Act who can be an applicant, because I told you already in the Trademark Act an individual can be an applicant, but in GI Act it is only an association of persons or producers or any organization or authority established by or under any law for the time being in force, representing the interest of the producers of the concerned goods, who are desirous of registering a geographical indication in relation to such goods. So here the main point is they should represent the interest of the producers. There should not be any selfish interest. There should not be vested interest. So the association of person all the producers, they should represent the interest of the producers. So I give here some examples who can be an applicant. Coffee Board, they have made applications for registration of GI. Tea Board, Handicapped Development Office, producer company, self-help groups, non-governmental organization, trust, government departments. So these people, the university, agriculture university, they can be applicant. Actually, they should represent the interest of the producers. That is the main point here. So I give you some examples of a name of geographical indication. Any name, geographical or figurative representation, or any combination of them conveying or suggesting the geographical origin of goods to which it is applies. Darjeeling, Basmati. So coming to the types of geographical indication, direct GI has Nagpur orange, Tirupati laddu, Saranpur wooden, cutlery, Banaras brocades and saris, Kashmir pashmina. So indirect geography indications are Basmati, Darjeeling, Feni, Pulkari, Alfonso mangoes. So these are indirect GAs and that is direct GAs. Now coming to the process, practice and procedure process of GA application in India. First, you file an application for registration of GA application. You can either file through post or by hand also you can submit, or you can file through online. The online provision is www.ipindia.nic.in. So you can file a GA application either by offline or by online. So once you file this application, we issue a fee receipt and an application number is allotted. After issuing fee receipt and application number is allotted, we issue a preliminary examination report under section 11.5 and rule 31 of GA Act and rules. The applicant is required to comply with the deficiencies raised in the preliminary examination report. Here what the problem arises. Many applicants do not comply with the deficiencies raised in the preliminary examination report. There the pendency starts. We have to give them reminder after reminder to send them a reply to the preliminary examination report. So because sometimes if you see the examination report of the GA application, we raise objection that you are not the applicant because here they don't represent the interest of the producers. So we have to make objections to them and they are not able to prove that they are representing the interest of the producers. So this is the examination report for a sample I have shown you here for the trademark, for the GI Kendrapara Rasaballi sweet. So if you see this examination report, we have raised an objection. How does Kendrappa, Rasaballi, Mustana, Nirmata Sangha and Rural Infrastructure Development and Employment qualify as an applicant? So in this case, if you see, till date the applicant has not given his reply to the examination report. They are not able to prove that they are representing the interest of the producers of the concerned goods. Next process of GA application is once the applicant complies with the deficiency raised in the preliminary examination report, what we do is we constitute an expert committee to ascertain the correctness of the applicants, correctness of the application. Actually, this expert committee is a 7-member committee. It is headed by the chairman, Controller General of Patent Designs and Trademarks. So he heads the committee, and there will be other 6 members who will be very efficient in the respective field. So this committee evaluates the GA application under section 11.5 and rule 33. So once this committee evaluates the GI application, application is either accepted or refused. So once again, this office issues an examination report to the applicant. Once the applicant is issued the examination report, he is required to comply with the deficiencies raised in the examination report. If he is complying with the deficiencies, we proceed the application for publication and it is advertised in the GI journal. Once it is refused, we again call him for a hearing and we request him to either withdraw the application, and if he is not willing to withdraw, it will be refused. So once the application is accepted and advertised in the GI journal, so as in the Trademarks Act, so we make it public. We make it public, make it available to the public to file opposition. So if there is no opposition filed within 4 months from the date of advertisement in the GI journal, so application will proceed for registration. GI application will proceed for registration. The next is, this is the examination report. Once the consultative group meeting is conducted and they come to a conclusion and they make some objections, this is the format of that examination report issued by this office. So again, we make an objection in that examination report. After the finalization of the consultative group meeting, we say that the consultative group strongly felt the Association of Producers to be the applicant. So there are many false and fraudulent people who apply for registration of a GI and take mileage of fraudulent acts. So next stage is, once the application is advertised in the GI journal, if opposition is filed, it takes a long proceedings as in the Trademarks Act, and a hearing is conducted. Opposition is either dismissed or opposition is allowed. Once opposition is dismissed, the application proceeds for registration and issuance of registration certificate. Coming to the, if no opposition is filed, application proceeds for registration and we issue registration certificate under section 16 of the GI Act. So this is the format of the GI registration certificate. Here the Tejpat Utpadak Samiti, they are the applicant here for the registered GI Uttarakhand Tejpat. So along with the registered GI, we enclose the map of the GI also, where it is existing. So coming to the next portion is how long a GI registration is valid. The registration is valid for 10 years and it is renewable for another 10 years and so on. Actually, there is a provision made now under the new GI Amendment Act to reconsider the renewal of the GI application. So this is the registration process. In a nutshell, I can say, upon filing of an application, a preliminary examination report is issued, and if the applicant complies with the preliminary examination report, a consultative group is convened to evaluate the correctness of the applications and its supporting documents. Now, based on the recommendation of the consultative group, again an examination report is issued, and if the application proceeds for publication, it will be advertised in the journal. That means it is made available to public to raise their objection within 4 months. So GI registration certificate of registration is issued and it is valid for 10 years. So this is the nutshell I have told you, the registration procedure. So coming to the registration of foreign GIs, so we don't discriminate an Indian or a foreign GI. So the main point is the applicant has to give an address for service in India. He should give the home country GI application registration. The protection is same and procedure is same for registration. The same punishments in case of violation. So these online facilities are available in our website www.ipindia.nic.in. Filing of online G application, you can find out the status of the G application. All documents and forms are available in the website, and journal publication is also done. You can go through the GI Act and rules in the website. You have been given the details of registered GI and pending application, and the details of monthly hearing details in the online facility. So next concept is the GI authorized user. So as I told you earlier, GI Act enables dual registration. One is Part A and other is Part B. So Part A contains the details of the registered GI. So Part B contains the details of authorized user. Actually, unlike in Trademarks Act, it is the individual who becomes the proprietor of the trademarks. In GI, the registered proprietor of GI, he's not the proprietor, he is not the user of the registered GI. Only the authorized user becomes the user of the registered GI. So to become a user of a registered GI, he should file an application for authorized user. So this application, who can be an applicant? Any person claiming to be a producer of the registered geographical indication may apply in writing under Section 17 of the Indian GI Act. So application registration as an authorized user shall be made by a producer and jointly by the registered proprietor of the said GI. So the definition of producer, who is a producer? Any person who produces the goods in case agricultural goods, any person who exploits the goods in case of natural goods, any person who makes or manufactures the handicraft or industrial goods, any person who trades or deals in such production, exploitation, making or manufacturing of goods. So these give definitions because to show who can be an authorized user. So this application for registration of an authorized user is done under Form GI 3A is very important because in your area, if you find any registered GI, you can tell the authorized user of that particular region to make an application under GI authorized user. It should accompanied by a statement of case. So now the fees for registration of a GI authorized user is ₹10. Earlier it was ₹500, and the present government has reduced the fees to ₹10 to enable the authorized user to file freely. They can feel free to file the authorized user application. While filing an authorized user application, they should file a copy of the consent letter from the registered proprietor. Sometimes the registered proprietor does not give the consent. If it is not available, a copy of the application may be endorsed to the registered proprietor for information. So the process for a registered user flowchart is same as for a registered GI, but here you can see that there is one thing missing when compared to a registered GI. The registered authorized user, when filing an application, again a preliminary exam should be issued for compliance of deficiencies, and upon compliance of deficiencies, we immediately proceed for publication. While in the case of registered GI, we don't proceed for publication. We evaluate the application. It gets evaluated by a committee of experts under the chairmanship of Controller General. So in authorized user, once the deficiencies are complied, it proceeds for publication. So as usual, if proceeds for publication means opposition, we await opposition from the public. If no opposition is filed, the application proceeds for registration. So authorized user registration certificate is issued. So these are the steps taken by the government of India for promotion of Indian GIs. We have a website launched, exclusively Indian GI website launched by the government of India, by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So these are the steps taken to promote the GIs. A social media campaign is created. So another thing is gift a GI campaign. So if you see that any dignitaries, foreign dignitaries coming to India, we gift a GI. Our Honorable Prime Minister also gives a GI to dignitaries of various countries while visiting various countries. So here the CPOM launched a gift a GI campaign before Diwali and received overwhelming response from people. So you can also gift a GI to create awareness among the public. So this is the GI logo and slogan, invaluable treasures of incredible India. Once a GI is registered, this logo you can affix on your registered GI. This is recognized by the government of India. Thank you. If any doubts, you can ask me.
Thank you, sir. Joining us from all the way from Chennai and taking out your valuable time. Now we have Mr. Vishwajit Sarkar. He's an attorney specialized in intellectual property rights. Mr. Sarkar, are you on the line?
Yeah, I am available. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you are very much audible.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, everybody, and it is a good afternoon now. So it's a very important session of intellectual property rights named GI, Geographical Indication. Well, we are all aware now at the present situation that GI is a very important intellectual property in our modern life, and it can enhance our quality of the product, it can enhance our human skill, and thus we are talking about these particular intellectual property rights, geographical indication. Geographical indication is basically a kind of indication which is embedded, which is indicated with a particular goods or a particular product, which is originating from that particular geographical region, and it has a certain quality and the reputation. Thus, geographical indication exists in a modern time. You just see there are products like Muga silk, the Kuch embroidery, the Worli paintings. These are all the different kinds of GI. Now, let us talk about history of GI, how the GI came. If you look at intellectual property rights development in a country, evolution in a country, first we had the development of patent, parallelly the trademark. So henceforth, GI came much later. So the concept of GI is basically developed in France in 1990, the 6th May. Just it was really a good flashback. Like 1990, the GI concept started in the world, and that is in France. So that was the time the GI they used to mention is a AOC, that is under the French law. In 1950s, 60s, 70s, they are doing, especially for the wine. Because of course, whenever we talk about the GI, we first think about, well, we used to think about the Scotch whiskey, or we used to think about many products of the different countries, especially from Italian cheese and etc. But in the passage of time, India has developed a lot of GI, and we are discussing various aspects of the GI registration, protection, as well as GI usage. In France, the wine is a very important industry, and they started protecting those wines as their original product, and they used to sell all over the world. Similarly, the cheese, the spirits also, like Calvados, Cognac is a very important, the brand, and as well as the GI of a particular wine. So what can be an indication? So indication is basically whenever you just take any GI, and if you just try to analyze it, so you just see with that particular GI, there's a name of a particular geography is involved. Why such kind, the name is involved, the name of a particular region is involved, because that particular product or the people, those who are involved for developing or producing or creating such product are associated with such goods, and the reputation of that product is involved therein. So that is basically related to agricultural product. It can be the natural product. It can be the manufactured product, such as handicrafts, industrial products, foodstuff, wine, and spirit. There are many products which are natural goods, like agricultural goods are like Nagpur orange. Natural goods are the monocytes of the Kerala. Manufactured goods is Kolhapuri chappal. We are all familiar with this particular product. Handicrafts is Risha, Ikat. Foodstuff, of course, the Tirupati Laddu is very famous GI in India. When it started, the GI started the journey in India. Wine and spirit, of course, the Goa Feni, the Kaju Feni, basically they're named as Kaju Feni. That is also very popular GI. And also industrial product, Coimbatore wet grinder. There's many other products are there. There are many products which are not also registrable under the GI Act. First of all, the name which is generic in nature. So similar concept is there under the Trademark Act also in India. Whenever any particular name which has a very generic significance, it cannot be registered as a GI. Second particular aspects of the GI is that whenever such name which is creating the confusion, suppose I take, there is a GI of Nagpur orange, and if you take any name which is similar to this particular name, that's Nagpur orange, so it cannot be registered under the GI. So GI should be very unique, and it should be uncommon, and which is well reputed among the larger section of the mass. Now the question comes, we are all talking about the GI one fine morning. We are requiring the protection of GI one fine morning. Why is that? What is the object? Why do we need to do so? Years back, centuries back, there was no GI. Now, if you look at the business, like the GI, the protection of the GI, ultimate purpose is that we want to create the business on it, we want to earn the revenue on it, and we want to expand our reputation cross the geographical boundary so that we can earn the foreign currencies. So GI needs the protection because it is in the larger section of the society. Whenever we talk about a trademark, we talk about a copyright, whatever the other intellectual property rights, this particular question comes obviously on our mind. We are creating something, just like we are creating the land, we are creating the property. So if we buy a land, piece of land, we're creating a border, the boundary, just to protect. So similarly, GI, whenever we create the GI, the most important aspect is the protection. So how to protect that GI? It is also very important aspects of it. We have the laws, we have our judicial system, we have enforcement system. Thereby, we can protect the GI which are registered. Therefore, registration of the GI is very, very important, which is also having the awareness among the larger section of the society, and it has the commercial aspects of it. GI from the protection, that is another aspects of the producer point of view. So suppose a section of public at a particular geographical region, they are manufacturing that particular or producing that particular product, and similar product is being manufactured or produced or sold among the public with a similar name, then producers are definitely, the genuine producers are suffering. They're facing the damages, and thereby the protection is very much required. It is also helping the local enterprises. Definitely, whenever any local, any particular, a group of people, they are creating the GI, they are basically a local enterprises, and it helps to develop our rural economy. That's why we are talking about the GI every now and then, and we are trying to focus on our rural economy to go to this global economy. So it is also protecting the GI. The law is also helping this, like the GI Act is helping those GIs to be protected so that it is not becoming generic. Now, what are the advantages of GI registration? Let us see. So once you register the GI, so it creates a kind of legal protection against any kind of unauthorized use. I remember this is a situation because I still remember this, like when I was talking about a GI in a particular region of Odisha. So there was a couple who pointed it out to me that they are from Singapore and they are producing the Madhubani paintings, which is very important GI in our India. This is very, very popular product, popular handicrafts. That we have taken that artisan from that region of Madhuban and we have placed them in another region, and we are creating the such kind of the product, and we are selling it in a global market. So are they said, are we violating the GI? Of course, you are violating, you are the infringer of the GI, because Madhubadi paintings which are produced should be from the region of the Madhuban. The same goods cannot be, if you take the artisans and place them in another region of any other place and you start, that is a kind of the unfair trade practices. It is happening all over the world, and that is the reason we are always talking about the protection of intellectual property rights, creation of the intellectual property rights, and also the moving our life towards the intellectual property rights protection. The promotes the economic prosperity, of course, creating the privilege of the initial legal action against the infringers that I have already given you the example, the practical example. So otherwise, there are unscrupulous business houses, those who try to encash the intellectual property rights in a very clandestine manner. It is also helping, the GI is also helping the villagers or like the people, those who are living in the rural region, they'll be encouraged. They will be encouraged to develop the such kind of the product and to maintain the quality of that product of that particular geographical origin, and so that their product are remaining well reputed across the globe. So this is a rural economy development tool. Which one? They are not able to see. Are you able to see my slides?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So benefits of GI, I am just giving the one example, like income of the weavers increased. Like we have a lot of weavers at a different region. Even I am from West Bengal. There are multiple weavers. We have Shantipuri Shari, this is like very important. We have a lot of GIs who are working on it. We are trying to bring the awareness. But the biggest challenge to create or to come forward with the GI registration, that is a formation, that is a practical. I'm talking about the theory is very different. What we talk about that law, it's like kind of the protection, these are the statutes, we have to follow the thing. But two things I have seen when I'm practicing in a practical way as a lawyer who is handling the IP problems every day, the problems related to the IP. I found two things are there. First of all, to motivate the local rural public to come forward and to create the GI. First of all, they say we are very small enterprise, very small entity. We have no such intention to create the GI. We tried to convince them, yes, you create the GI, you come under the protection of the GI, you can grow your business more, many folds, globally. If you don't do so, you'll be doing the business at a small point of geographical region. Therefore, to motivate the public, to motivate the people, those who are involved with that kind of geographical product or geographical goods, are need to be motivated. If we can motivate them, you can see the example, this is how the growth can take place. It is to the percentage. So income of the weavers increased from rupees 2,000 to the 3,000, that is the 36%. The production of the growth is 5%. It is more than that, I'm sure about it. It was a little bit of the old statistics. Price increased, of course, So it is very variable. So this is a way the benefits are going. How GI is protected in accordance to the international treaty. It's first it started under the Treaties agreement that I'll discuss later on. So various countries have the different kind of the geographical indication, the laws, protection, and this is the way. Specific laws are there to protect the GI. But many countries, they do not have the GI laws. They protect such kind of the GI through the collective marks or the certification mark. Or there is another provision under the law. Of course, those who are practicing lawyers, they understand this is how to protect it, or the unfair competition, or the consumer protection laws, or the common law rights, we call it. So I'm not discussing much about all those legal aspects of it. Indian perspective, we are talking about that Indian Parliament enacted the GI Act in the year 1999, and which came into force in 2003. Is not a very long history of GI in our country, but still it is growing. And we are talking about the GI protection. Even as a practicing IP law firm in our country, we are getting a lot of queries, lot of calls. People are inquiring about the GI, how to protect it, how to create it. And the next question, it comes that what would be the benefit of creating the GI? So GI registration in India, preparatory activities. Like one, we are talking about identification of the stakeholders. So who can be the creator of the GI? That is, we can go to the different level. That is one aspect of it that we are also trying to find out. In West Bengal, the lot of products are there which can easily go for the GI protection, GI tag, but they are very scattered. They are very diffused in their thinking. And thus, it's a big task, big responsibility for the government as well as the practicing lawyers or the NGOs or the government bodies to convince them to come forward with the GI protection, GI registration, and also usage of the GI tag. So it is also very important to motivate the mass or the business houses to follow the GI protection or usage of the GI, because GI, whenever you create a GI and it goes with such kind of tag, it can get a global recognition, which will be an added value for any kind of business. This a formation of consortium is very important, like the group of who can come and who can apply for the GI. But before forming the GI, one has to go, because in West Bengal, we have seen a lot of challenges, like especially, North Bengal, there is a kind of pineapple. Even recently, we are well exposed with the state like Tripura is very important for the Northeast state, all the states. They have the very important GI, but which is still not touched by the GI protection or the GI tag, which is a pineapple of Tripura. So I travel to many parts of the Northeast India, and I have noticed many products are there, agricultural product, handicrafts, which are yet to be protected by GI. Therefore, Northeast has very prospective exposures for the GI, and they can create the GI for the greater extent of the business growth, as well as their reputation for the business to cross the boundary of our country. So I'm not talking much about the applications and this procedure part, but I found the biggest challenge is that, first of all, to be convinced and to form the group of people, those who are really motivated, those who are really intended to go for GI registration of their product, of their cultivated products, etc. So convincing or creating the motivation among the mass is a very big challenge. It's a very, very important aspect of it. Otherwise, we have a very fair and straight law for geographical registration, as well as we have such kind of the frame line of statutes which can ensure the protection of the GI through our legislation. This is a process of registration, very briefly, because there are other speakers, those who have touched on this particular area. Like application you have to file, then acceptance or the withdrawal. Then after the acceptance, it is advertised in a journal. Then like it can be opposed by any third party who is going to be affected for that proposed to be registered GI. Then of course the opposition procedure is like that. So you have to file the notice of opposition, then counter statement. So then GI register hears both the parties, and then they come to the decision of acceptance or refusal. And thus the registration of GI takes place. This is the number of the GI at present in India. So number is Mr. Habibullah also spoken that the number has increased. That's a 420. Now we have still mentioned here the 365. Of course, many GIs have been registered in between. So, but you just see that handicrafts number of GIs, handicrafts are more. The natural products are less, other agricultural products are less. So manufacturing products are remarkably less. This particular statistics shows that where the challenge lies. Like we have to motivate the artisans, the weavers, the craftsmen, that whatever you are doing, it has a future prospect for a wider business through the GI protection. So therefore, it is very, very important to convince the larger section of the society to come forward. This is a new concept, undoubtedly. It's not yet that much of popular, although we are discussing a lot about it. But as well as intellectual property protection is there, it is not as popular as trademark or copyright, but still it is growing, I would like to mention. So on an international perspective, there's whenever we talk about the intellectual property rights, of course, we know, everybody know what is intellectual property. We are not talking about all those things, but these are the bodies, those who really formulates the intellectual property protections around the world. WIPO is a very big body. There's a World Intellectual Property Organization. Then under the WIPO, there were a lot of like programs, treaties, conventions, those who are programmed by WIPO, and it was held like the Paris Convention in 1883. Madrid Agreement is there, the Madrid system, which is very, very now popular for our global trademark registration Madrid protocol. Lisbon Treaty is there also. This is a kind of thing. These are international treaties are there. TRIPS agreement, which is a very, very important aspects of the protection of intellectual property. It came first in 1995 January 1st January, addressing the international protection of the GI within the framework of the World Trade Organization. You can have a look of that. That's like the GI is just started to be protected since 1995. That was a part 2 and section 3 of the Treaties provides the GI protection, like Article 22 prescribes a simple standard of the basic geographical protection. Article 23 provides additional protection of only the wines and spirit. Just see this how the wines or these Western worlds, they are very much aware to protect their GIs, and therefore there is a special protection was given to these wines and spirit. And Article 24 talks about some exceptions to these protections also. Now let us see how the GI protection takes place in USA. USA has no specific GI Act. It is protected in 1929. USA is also the member of the WTO 1995, the TRIPS agreement. And thus US GI system uses the administrative trademark system, but basically they follow the system of the trademark and they protect their GI. So because the Trademark Act in the US is called ANAM Act, and GI is getting the extended protection under that act. As certification mark, collective marks, there's a regular trademark and common law trademark. Here are some examples of the Indian GI, like Alfonso mango, the Darjeeling tea, Kanchipuram silk, Nagpur orange, Bikaner bhujia, Bengal rasgulla, of course, that is a very interesting GI in India. But we are not mentioning here the basmati rice, but it is also very important GI now for India to protect it at a global perspective. This is the American GIs, Florida orange juice, so Badilia orange. Then the ones is the Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee is very important for them. Parmigiano and the Regina is there. Cognac is there for their wine. Now we are coming to the case studies. This is whenever we talk about the GI, all over the world, or at a greater extent, we talk always on Darjeeling tea. Why is that? This particular GI, we have done certain kind of studies in depth of the Darjeeling tea. We found it is really an extraordinary GI which has exorbitant global market. Now, Darjeeling tea is known worldwide, of course, for its quality, its flavor, and for its long use. We all try to seek the Darjeeling tea to get the flavor of the tea, the particular aspects of the flavor. Factors attributing to exceptional distinctiveness is the geographical origin. Of course, it is a geographical, particularly the geographical location is involved, and the processing. Processing also important because I have seen how tea gardens of Darjeeling areas are producing their teas. Very interesting to see all those things, and the processing is also very important to maintain such kind of flavor. So these two important factors, which are, one is a climatic factor of that particular geography, and second is that the processing factor, the skill of those who are processing this tea, their skill is also involved, skill as well as the knowledge. The Darjeeling tea is also protected under as well as many countries we have protected under the the certification trademark in USA, UK also. So Raj, this Darjeeling word is basically it is a particular regional terminology, a particular place or the origin.
Sorry to interrupt you in the middle. If you can kindly shorten your presentation. Obviously, we have question and
Yeah.
answer also to go.
Yeah, sure. So this is the how this Darjeeling tea, I mean, it was applied by Darjeeling tea, the tea board, and the application numbers are there. And in absence of the GI in India, this 1919 tea board protected the trademark of the Darjeeling. That was the time no GI was there. So first they filed the trademark or the Darjeeling, the word. That is very interesting information. And later on, when the GI was introduced in 2003, the GI status of the Darjeeling was granted in 2004. The tea board has worldwide, they are trying to protect this Darjeeling tea. This is the first product, this is the thing that we have mentioned. Basically, this particular case is there, ITC. I'm not talking much about this case. Everybody knows this case. That's the name of the lounge of the ITC hotel was Darjeeling, and they tried to protect it, and that was by this thing. But GI was, it was ensured that it is not a trademark, it is a GI. So this is a case study of the Parmigiano Reggiano, that is Italian cheese. This particular cheese is made to the three ingredient of this raw cow milk and salt and coffee. This is a particular taste in Italy. It receives a GI status in 1955 and European Union 1992. There are different kind of cheese. They are very popular in Italy. The protection of the GI is, of course, everybody, we are aware of it. The enforcement actions are there. These are all global perspectives. It's a slightly, very complex in nature. How to protect it is a very controversial, challenging many times. We are not talking much about all those things. So in a nutshell, I want to say that the GI is a very growing intellectual property rights in India, and we should be more motivated to talk about the GI. But one aspect is there for the GI is that what I have seen, this is a very big challenge. Once you create the GI, how to protect the GI? Like how to use the GI, many aspects of it I have seen. They have taken the GI, but they are not able to use the GI. Like I'm talking about the GI of the Rasgullas, like whenever I see the Rasgulla, the manufacturers, those who are selling it, of course, we have the Rasgulla, the GI of the Bengal, and the GI of Odisha. Of course, this case is very, very interesting for GI. But I have not seen the manufacturers or the producers of the Rasgullas, this sweet meat, they're not using the GI. So once you create the GI, you remember that you must know how to use your GI and what level you can go and protect it. This is my main idea for GI protection as well as the GI creation. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'll be here to answer.
Thank you, sir. Now we have our last speaker, last but not the least, Mr. P.K. Bakshi. We are also happy to announce that, we also have the IPR sale. It is given by Ministry, which we run in our ICC office. And please, Bakshi, sir.
Good afternoon, all the dignitaries present here and ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for patiently listening to us, and hope this interactive session has got some little knowledge about the geographical indication rights. And the efforts put forward by the local authorities like Neramek, like PIDA, and Ms. Gogoi has also put and lightened up us about the various aspects of the GI. Moreover, the maximum area being touched by our former dignitaries. What I want to include here are some little repetition of Ms. Gogoi's informations about the awareness of GI products, its marketing, etc., which is to be more precisely important these days, so as to have a much more economical benefit to our producers. Here, most of you, I believe, belong to the producing community of these kind of products here. And basically, the purpose of today's meeting was to enlighten you about what are the benefits of GI registration, and as well, if these registered products are being sold and traded by the people like you, what kind of benefits you can have if these are being these products are being well showcased in the other part of the country, as well the cross country tradings in case of export promotion activities. So like the only one single part is being left as of now, that is enforcement. Enforcing the rights. Okay, various products are already being GI registered, but how to enforce? As like there is a system called registered user. To be a registered user of a GI registered product, there is a process under the Registrar of Geographical Indication. The user who want to genuinely trade a GI registered product need to go for a registration as a registered user under the Geographical Indication Registry based at Chennai. But a registered user or a registered proprietor, whether it is a community, whether NGO, whether a government department, how they can enforce their rights. The specific GI registered product is being used somewhere, and the similar economical benefit is not being moving forward to the registered. For example, our Mugasil is registered by Delabec. Our not Delabec, sir. Estate, no, yes, it has been registered by estate. Now, if the estate will try to or will establish a committee of enforcement of the right, then they can find out that there are various websites which are being operated out of the state by various traders or manufacturers who use the term Muga silk. Okay, Assam silk is being used for the various clothes. Okay. Now, as because Assam Muga silk is registered under GI, these particular users of this tag should be, notified through a legal process, so as to the supernatural profits which these traders are earning, shall a part of that particular profit shall also be given to the registered proprietor of that GI, so as that specific economical benefit shall also be shared with the grassroots level people of this particular GI registered products, so as an overall economical benefit can be enjoyed by the state. By the provision of the GI Act, if you read, sometime if you find the time and just read section 50 of Geographical Indication of Goods Registration and Protection Act 1995. What it says, the provision is cognizance of certain offences and the power of police officer for search and seizure. What it says all about that any police officer not below the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police or equivalent may, if he is satisfied that any of the offences referred to in subsection 3 has been, is being, or is likely to be committed, search and seize without warrant. This is important. Search and seize without warrant the goods, die, block, machine, plate, other instruments, or things involved in committing the offence, wherever found, and all the articles so seized shall, as soon as practicable, be produced before the judicial magistrate of the first class or metropolitan magistrate, as the case may be. Now see, if a state will enforce this particular provision of the Act, then these traders who are using this GI tag tomorrow will be bound to compensate upon their supernatural profit to the registered adopter of that GI tag. And eventually, that is what these kind of common rights are being given to the community only, not to an individual. Please mark it. It is not an individual's right. It is a community right. So as the community shall be benefited. A state is a public body. Neramek is a public body. If there will be a proper enforcement of these rights, then automatically tomorrow the extra economy being earned by this public body shall again be transferred to those poor communities who are actually producing these products historically. I'll take an example of Swalkuchi. We all know Swalkuchi silk or Swalkuchi produced, which were being called as a Manchester of textile of Southeast Asia since last 900 years. It's such a rich history. But today, if you practically go to that village, you will find that there are around registered more than 3,500 producers who are producing Assam silk specifically. Now it dropped down to less than 2,000. What's the reason? The reason behind the actual benefit these people were supposed to get, they did not got it. Resulting, the next generation, the new generations, they have started diverting their businesses and other activities. A huge volume of youngsters already came out of the village. They are not ready to go back to their origin. Even in government sector, the present government, since long back of their joining in the cabinet, asking that the basic motto is to stay back at the origin. And that is what the more emphasis into production, government benefits, subsidy schemes, etc., are being launched. Although those were there historically in the Indian democracy, but the proper implementation were being started and expediting the claims were being started since last 8-10 years to see. And I think sitting over here, most of you have already been benefited with various kind of government benefits, Startup India, and this kind of lot of. And our Indian Chamber of Commerce is also facilitating a lot of those things, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Okay. So, this IP rights and enforcing these laws and earning that benefit, economical benefit mostly, out of that is another motto of today's discussion also. So as you should come up, if there are those communities sitting over here who have already got that GI tag, should enforce it until we will not enforce. Even in marketing, as Ms. Gogoi said already, that even after marketing, there will be a very strong possibility of infringement. We cannot find who is actually benefiting out of it and who are supposed to be benefited out of it. Okay, there is a big gap between these two stakeholders. So this enforcement is a part of it, and there is a very specific provision that a police officer is being empowered by the provision of the Act to enforce this particular right of GI. So I would like to request our dignitaries also here, if this kind of information can also be carried forwarded, and in some back days when Mr. Bhattacharya was in the post in this NERA have been the director. I think, sir, you have also initiated a lot of vigilant committees and all to move forward. Yes. Right. So these kind of activities relating to district level and state level vigilance committees being formed, then they went to the market. Even I'm taking a live example for this. It is not exactly related to the GI, but related to the trademark, other intellectual property. Swalkuchi. We all know that in the year of 2012 there was a huge massacre in Swalkuchi about duplicacy, piracy of products. Benares silk are being taken over here by the name of Swalkuchi silk, Assam silk, and it was being sold at a very low cost, resulting the actual producers were not being properly benefited, and there was a big issue, resulting there were a public mob, police intervened, and there were firings, and more than 70 people died on spot. This case came to me for a solution. The government, the Tarun Gogoi government has came forward to solve this issue. Resulting, when I move forward to talk to the Swalkuchi people, I find that still that time, in the year of 2012, they were so unorganized. There were no proper legal entity for enforcing their rights, resulting the Swalkuchi Tak Unnayan Hilpo Committee being formed with my advice. And after formation of that, we filed for two trademark applications by the name of Swalkuchis in textile products and ready-made garments. In the year of 2013, we filed this. I fought for 3 years with the case, and in the year of 2016, we finally secured the registration. After securing the registration, we started enforcing this right in the market. We suddenly visited some of the shops in Guwahati local area and found people are outrightly selling the silk products, or may not be silk product also, by the name of this is from Swalkuchi. So we immediately caught those people. We created a vigilance committee where a mobile magistrate were there, the DC Kamrup Metro and Kamrup Rural were there. We were there, and we enforced the law on spot. Now, if you go, this is just for your awareness. Whenever you go to purchase any silk products made of muga silk or pat or something like, just ask for the certificate. You will find in each product, inside the product, you will find whether it is a sari, whether it is a gamosa, whether it is any other male clothes or female clothes, you will find one single certificate inside the product by the name of authenticity, and it is laboratory tested about the genuinity. The trademark tag is there, barcode is there, and other things you will find. You should always insist for that certificate inside the product so as to get the guarantee of it. These are the part of the enforcements, right? So this way, a GI right shall also require that enforcement so as to earn a good economy for the state. And this is the actual, actual concept of introducing intellectual property right in the world. During the Industrial Revolution, during 1700, 1600 in European countries, they find that the people who are inventing something is not getting the actual right which the person concerned should supposed to get. And accordingly, the concept of patent came in force for scientific inventions. And so as when it is being seen the recent days of 80s and 90s period, it was seen that an individual is only getting the right on IP, not a community, not a bunch of people, not a huge mass of society is getting the right according to the concept of geographical indication taking fruits. Right. So this is all about my sake, because other things are very well explained and it is in a proper way designed. I'm sorry that I am not bringing any slides and all for you, because I more believe into the practical approach of claiming these rights so as to get the actual benefit of geographical indication or patent or trademark copyright, whatever intellectual property. Well, and one more information that in ICC here we are facilitating with the IPFC Intellectual Property Facilitation Center. This is a facility offered by the Ministry of MSME for facilitating the IP rights for its registration and enforcement as well. So you like to request all of you to come forward, sometime visit our IPFC facility here, so as to make you understand individually about your requirements, and we can accordingly facilitate you with our services relating to this, and that is the main purpose. That is all about. It's already lunchtime here. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for patiently listening to me. Thank you.
Sir, for a very short, crisp, and practical feedback on GI. Now, we have a lot of FPO, FPC friends here coming all the way from Tinsukia, Dibrugarh, Karbi Anglong, and Madam Sunita Rai is here, Bhattacharya Sari is here, and Rupi Gugoi and other panelists are here. So, if you have any questions, you may please ask. You may please address to the questions.
Yeah, my name is Dr. M. Hazarika. So I is the professor and head in the Department of Livestock Product Technology in Veterinary College, Kanapada, Assam University. And I'm in a now retirement. So I got the invitation, I came. Now, one particular thing I'd like to ask you, now, in the list, I have seen that most of the products are agricultural products. Since I belong to the livestock, so I'd like to ask you one question only. There, you know that we are now exporting the buffalo meat, and buffalo meat sometimes it becomes #1 commodity. Sometimes it is surpassing even the basmati rice. It's a #1 commodity. Now in northeastern region, we have got a beautiful animal, and we are not exporting. That is the swamp buffalo. And swamp buffalo, you see, northeastern region, we are not getting any benefit. Now, last year, we exported around 30,000 crores of buffalo meat to different countries of the world. And India is getting a lot of money out of that. But in northeastern region, it is still in the EA condition. So that is why my question is that if possible, that we have to go for that. Swamp buffalo is a unique product. Nowhere it is there, only in the northeastern region. And swamp buffalo, we have to, get a lot of, benefit out of that. So this is my request in a higher from in the central government also, you can take up this particular issue to give the GI to the particular buffalo swamp buffalo. There are some other species of animal also, like our local cattle also, it is already registered. Lakshmi cattle, it has then the pork also, and then we have the small birds called potash kara. অসমত আমাৰ এটা ভেৰি বস্তু আছে পটাছ কৰে আমাৰ গান কৰা আছে এই বস্তুবিলাক কিন্তু we have to go for this type of livestock, no, for GI. So this is my that's a humble request, only not a question, but this request. Thank you.
Thank you for raising the suggestion. I would just like to supplement few things. Number one, rightly said, buffalo meat is one of the highest revenue earner in terms of foreign exchange. In top, if you happen to see the top 10 of agriculture commodities, including livestock for exports, meat, that is buffalo meat, white meat, what we say is, that is the number one. Then followed by rice, both basmati and non-basmati rice. So something to get a GI. Yes, but is also promoting a lot of GI products. It should be the initiative of the State Department also And then we also have a scheme wherein if some department is facing financial issue, they can also take the benefit from the scheme. We have a financial assistance scheme. For non-distant region, this is 75% of the total cost. In details, I can give you the details. That is a back-ended subsidy, which means to say that you first have to get the GI registry, get it GI tag, then you get back the reimbursement money. So that is there. And Swan Buffalo, you said, in order to get a GI, I think that step has to come from the primary, Assam Agriculture University, the College of Veterinary Science. So I think this is one of the, it should be there, I think, and then we are also in touch with Assam Agriculture University. We recently signed an MOU in the month of March. We have signed an MOU in terms of cooperation, in terms of lot of capacity building programs for the farmers, and then other areas where research and development can also take place. Probably I will raise this issue, not issue, I will raise this suggestion to the EU BC, sir. So probably we can take, and then we talk about Swan Buffalo, but I think Mithun is also,
Yes.
something.
No.
Yeah.
Mithun and Ya, the research.
Center in
Yeah. Left side, yeah.
Left
What about
and
These are legal, no, there is a difference. Difference is that the Mithun and Ya, still it is not recognized as a meat animal. So there are some different conventional meat and non-conventional meat. Still it is a non-conventional meat, and research is going on to be used as a meat animal, Ya and Mithun. So for the time will come, then we can go for that one also.
Yes. So the National Research Center on Mithun, they had contacted us few last year. In fact, they are working on standards for Mithun meat, just like we have the standards for buffalo meat. So they also wanted to have the standard and was seeking the inputs from PEDA that whether Mithun meat can be exported. So that is still debatable, of course, but then I think the work has started. But what I want to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from your friends?
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Puran Chhetri. I represent an FPC called Abad Agro Producer Company Limited. My question goes to Subhash sir. So, sir, one very simple question. So, I like to know because you have such a good experience with marketing, and then you were previously with the Neramek. So, sir, I like to know. Suppose in case, let's say, we want to trade in Karbi Anwam ginger. Okay. So, what are the processes or steps involved for us to buy Karbi ginger and sell in the market? Suppose in case if you want to do it, we like to know the processes and the compliances, whether we need to create a warehouse or what kind of things to be done so that we can do trading. Suppose let's say a Karbi ginger for Assam. So that's my question.
Cardiac ginger, example. First thing is the warehouse, and other things is your marketing strategy. How do you want to take it forward? But sourcing a GI tech product. Suppose the ginger, the map you have seen, we have shown you the GI registration certificate along with the right side. There's a map. So that particular area of the districts are producing the particular variety of ginger. In Karbi there are Nadia variety and Aizol variety. In the GI tag, we have given very much clearly clarification to Nadia variety that attributes of, specs, quality specification, similar to the Aizol variety also what are the specifications. Suppose you have a particular market for Nadia variety of Karbi ginger, you can replace the GI tag, but you have to go by the specification of that particular Nadia variety. That you can get it, Nadia variety specification that is matching in the varieties grown in Karbi area, Nadia variety. The specifications are met. So those things you can take and share with your client or whom you want to market, and according to their way of sourcing it, they want to store it, take it for 6-7 months or however. I'll do the very beginning, before we did GI, as I was telling you when I was talking to all of you, that Mr. Angamadu sir was the deputy commissioner, now he is chairman of APETA. He was deputy commissioner ginger, this Karbi Anwam district. I think it was long before I became MP. I was the executive director, just came from the team. So he has started with a federation, ginger federation. Then he started with a ginger with State Bank, a gin card. That time he told, "Let's go market karana." So we tied up with number of good people. And those days, I think Spices Board had in Barneyhat, Assam state, there was a storehouse. It was absolutely not used. It was made and nobody was using it. So we had proximity problems of proximity to Guwahati, where to store and all that. So we took it for around 6 months, and for long term we have extended it to market. So that way, the strategy of yours, how do you market, how your client desires it, that we have to do. But as on GI sourcing of that, if you want to take the authorized user tag, Karbi Anglong in that till now it is with NARMAC. So you have to take the permission of NARMAC and also the registration authority. Habibullah Sahib already also told you that. So these two provisions are usually taken. Once the authority with already got the registration allows you, registration authority also allows it. So as I told you in Karbi Anglong Ginger, one case of Kerala, our board of directors denied, considering that some entrepreneurs from Northeast or a trade group from Northeast will come forward. So those things are important.
Sir, one more thing. Sir, how much time will it take? Suppose in case if I apply, if I want to go in for today, suppose like motamoti, how much time it will take for me to get it what the authorized user? Yes.
I'll tell you, it depends on the person who is sitting on the chair.
Okay.
If he wants to help your FPC or a FPO, it can be done in 2 days time. Then comes registration authority. The way we got the tag in 3 years, 11 product, it itself shows that how we have good relation. It all depends. See, marketing organizations should not only talk marketing, they should do their capabilities in marketing, right? It is something a support base, they have to do it. I am sure the team here, Manoj Das is holding additional chart, and the new commander is joining on 1st July, as I've been Arabic, Rajiv Ashok. They'll certainly do it.
Okay.
You all know, otherwise आपको बताना.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
कारोबार की बात और प्रश्नों से लगी.
Prashant from Registry. I just need to do some clarification. If you permit, can I do?
Yes.
First of all, thank you ICC and APITA for this.
Just one some supplement.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead. Okay, you can suppose go ahead with your answer.
Thank you for the time. First of all, thank you ICC and APITA for this program. This has been a very enlightening program. I have a question. It can be either answered by Dr. Gogoi or Mr. Bapti. Like geographical indication, this is something very new. And then regarding legal implications, yet to go through, this is the first day of coming to know about all these things. So I just want to know, of course, the GI indication, I mean, for any product will be good for the market, like you all said and all. But then at the end of the day, is there any legal protection for the farmer or the producer or the artisan? Because many a times it is not the farmer or the artisan that reaches the market. It is the middleman, it is a marketer or some agencies which takes this GI product and sell it nationally as well as internationally. So many a times we see that the farmer who is growing, working so hard 24 hours a day, and then coming up with that GI raw material is never benefited most of the time. It is the person promoting it. So is there any law under the GI thing that protects the farmer or the artisan who is coming up with these products?
I'm actually thinking about the question because it is a very important question, but a very difficult one to answer, I believe. Because see, first of all, the GI Act is definitely brought in to, at the end of the day, protect the farmers or the artisans. The purpose is that, right? Now, what we see in India is that there are 4 categories of proprietors. So it can be an association of person, association of producer, or any. There's another one, but they have to represent the interest of the producers in order to be the GI proprietor. Now, there is a lot of controversy going on. There are a lot of papers also written that, there are many departments who are filing for the GI registration not really from the perspective of the interest of the producers, but because they want to show on papers that they are the GI proprietors. That is one, and that is the reason probably if you listen to the speakers from the GI registry, they were saying that nowadays we put a lot of importance and we ask the questions, how are you an interested party? How are you going to represent the interest of the proprietors to be an applicant, right? So that is one thing. Now that is one part of the question. The second part of the question is that when you file for a GI registration, let's say there's a government department, let's say NERA is it has filed for GI registration of many products from Northeast India. Now, along with the powers, they have a responsibility also. What is the responsibility? The responsibility is to see that all the producers, let's say, of the Khasi mandate, they should be registered as an authorized user. Now, you cannot expect the producers of Khasi mandarin who might be illiterate or might not know about the GI law, that there is a provision of being an authorized user. You have to fill up a form. They might not know about it. So I feel it is the responsibility of whoever is the GI proprietor to actually go to them and make them the authorized users. So in case of Muga silk, what happened? There was no registered users. So initially, there was an MHRD IPR chair in Tejpur University. So they organized a lot of campaigns in and around the villages, whereby they went to the villages, they hold workshops, they brought in the weavers and they make them sign the registered users form. So this is how it was done. But if you talk about Assam Orthodox tea, if you try to check it, there is not a single registered user. They have not registered it, and it's been more than 15-16 years that Tea Board of India is the proprietor of Assam Orthodox tea. So to answer your question, they will have legal remedy, but they have to be included as a registered user. So that initiative has to be taken.
Exactly what the question you have put. The similar question happened when we applied initially the registration authority, because we are central PSU. So यही बात बोला गया है, you are trading organization, you will take GI and put it up with your this thing, and what will the benefit the farmers will get? For that matter, we have to approach Northeastern Council, their council for the Northeast. And we took through Northeast Council the decision that this body is a traded body in the Northeast, and they are objectively to support the farmers of the Northeastern region. With that supplement paper only, we could went to the registration authority and got the license for the farmers. So benefit goes, but the point you raised is the one, was 2007-8, immediately after I became MD 2007 August. We approached for GI because it was waiting for 2003 onwards when it started implementing the country. We tried to do that. But then first we got the Northwest, you are a traded body, you can't do that because its benefit will not go to the producers, it will go to you. So very valid question, and whatever is very clearly spelled. Thank you.
Actually, why I asked this question is I am from Nagaland, and Raja Mircha being a GI product, a lot of farmers, though there are lots of people marketing it as a raw, as processed, there are still a lot of farmers when we go to the market, they say that we are not getting a good price. Though people are selling it very good premium prices.
But they are not usually using the GI tag.
Yeah, that's why the awareness is not there.
That awareness is not come.
Yes.
See, Naga Chili, King Chili has got a GI tag through industry department warning act of government of Nagaland. But ultimately, they had to use the GI tag and on the logo. Until it comes, no benefit will come. And they are immediately with the logo and tag there, the complete range of benefits comes to the farmers.
I think the question is well answered. Arun Karwar, your question.
Good afternoon, and thank you for this very informative session. My name is Commodities, and I've been trying to work on promoting the export of ginger from Assam for last 1.5 years independently. I come from a logistics and shipping background, so I've seen how exports work internationally and how other countries have been very successful in many commodities like mango, banana, where we're still developing. My question is to Ms. Gogoi, and any other esteemed panel member could answer as well. When we actually go to execute, with two purposes in mind, one to get a premium price, then we have to look into markets which are other than Middle East, because Middle East is largely a cutthroat price competition market. And when we look at other markets besides the Middle East, it becomes very important to have the compliances. So there are a lot of money which needs to go into getting those certifications and compliances. For example, if you want to export to US or Europe, we need to get a global gap certification. Now, why we need to get these certifications is because you need to ensure that besides the origin and traceability, the quality is being adhered to. Does GI enable any kind of audit on the quality of the output? So, for example, is Swalguchi GI ensuring that year on year the quality of Swalguchi material, which was the silk which was registered, has not changed or deteriorated, or if it has upgraded, is there a provision for that? If there is no provision for that, it is very important to consider that, because marketing and promoting the products in the international market is a very difficult and different game. And even in the markets today in India, we have not seen Israel or other markets yet entering. But when the competition will come, we struggle to compete with our own states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So the aspect of what the consuming market needs to go at the input side. Only then can the output be so good that it can actually happen. So maybe there is an answer, maybe there is not an answer, but being the forerunners, my request will be to kindly look at this aspect. Because otherwise, people like me are really contemplating is it worth all the energy and the efforts going into it. Thank you.
There's a long history of this. See, when you talk about inspection structure, you have to look into the GI rules. And if I'm not mistaken, rule number 32(1)(e) or B talks about the need of an inspection structure when you're filing for the GI registration. However, what you asked is also a very important question, is how serious are we about it? That is also important. Because as per the language of the law in the rule, they said inspection structure, if any. If any, because we are lawyers, we know how you can twist the wordings. If any means it's not mandatory, right? That's how the lawyers understand. So in case of Muga silk, when it was registered, very sadly, there was no inspection structure. So there was huge criticism, as a result of which the GI registry became very serious. When the GI application started coming, they said, where is your inspection structure? But the sad reality is still there, that in India, we do not put a lot of emphasis on the quality control, and the inspection bodies, although we have it in the application, the effectiveness is, we are not very sure about. And if you want to read more about it, you can read about Banarasi silk. In Banarasi silk, I think there is a 5-body inspection structure, and still you get a lot of cheap duplicates in the name of Banarasi silk everywhere. So that poses the question, how serious are we? So I will just take this opportunity to tell something which I have been thinking in the midst of all this. He also presented. We all know Toss Muga, right? So maybe we can start a campaign from today. We will never use the word Toss Muga. What is Toss Muga? Like, we are from Assam. Should we say Toss Muga? It's not Muga. Muga is ours. Toss is Tassar silk. Tassar silk is grown in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. So Toss Muga is not Muga. It is a marketing strategy to take the Assamese market. So when you're buying a Mekhela Sadar, which is Toss, you should say is Toss Mekhela Sadar. Please, from today never use the term toss muga because it is a way of taking away our own muga from us. Right? So it's
Starting
muga.
from Darbhanga.
Yes. So it's tussar. It's tussar silk. India has 4 silks. And the cheapest of the 4 silk, one is AD, the other one is tussar. Muga is the most expensive, and then Mulberry silk, the part that we have in South India, we have a lot of silk. That's the Mulberry silk, right? But tussar silk is grown there. So because it is a cheap silk, you can dye it, make it look a little bit like muga. You want to take control of the northeast region because in Meghalaya also, muga is there, Assam also it's there. It's becoming very expensive, so people cannot afford the muga silk, but it's not muga, it's tussar. It's tussar silk. It's not, it has nothing to do with muga. It's just playing with the sentiments of the people because we want to have a muga silk. We can't afford it, we buy a toss muga. Toss muga is not muga, it's tussar silk. So from today, let's stop using the word toss muga. Right? So that's something we have to know.
Any other questions? Arun Karwal, you have possible.
Just to add on something. See, you said about quality, right? It's a very big question. We may have a little diversion about out of today's discussion about the topic. But it's not about GI, it's all about us, about our acceptability. Why this factor of toss muga came force in the public? Because we always try to find out cheap. This cheaper quality is dragging down our production system and nothing else.
Yes.
We always try to find out how poisa kotpa. Hey, Imandam. Now, if you today go to buy a real original Assam muga silk mekhala, it will not cost you less than 12 to 15,000 bucks. Much more than that. But we are not ready to purchase. Mentally, we are not ready. Rather to come to go to Taj to have a dinner out of it of 4 people sitting around and expecting 10,000 bucks, and on the next day you are giving it out of your body, and that has got nothing to do with our representing our status and standard of the country. But this is all about our mindset. As Ms. Gogoi said in her lecture about the acceptability in the European Union, they even stopped buying our Alfonso. Why do? Because they only stick to the quality. There must be something happen. They tested it, they find it adulterated. Resulting, there is a less acceptability in the public, resulting a huge government body, the entire union left us. Imagine. So this is all about us. It is all about our, acceptability. It is all about our quality of life, how to approach work. It has got nothing to do with enforcement. Although, as you have mentioned, the Swan Kuchi, we are having a vigilance committee. That is what these laboratory test reports and all these things came in force. And we had done a lot of media coverage out of it. Lot of talk shows we have organized in all the local channels. Sir might have seen in various, I used to give discussions into that, public bodies being called upon for organizing those talk shows for public awareness purposes, that whenever you are purchasing these, please go by these requirements. Even I can give you a practical example. I don't want to mention the name of the shop. I was just sitting beside to see what is the consumer behavior, customer behavior. Somebody came and asking for a Assam silk. Okay, the person concerned showed one Assam silk he bought from Swalkuchi itself. He showed that, see, these are the price tag and all, these are the certificates and all. What a price, it was around 8,500 bucks. Outrightly he said, "Ei dila kagos diye ko kaam nahi. Commodity palm he to." So now think into the traded commerce perspective. If you will deny, you will lose the business. Yes. Even if that particular product which he has sold, that has got a lesser margin, rather to sell a cheap product in a higher margin. This is reality of the trade and commerce of our country. Yes. We are helpless. We can't do. So that is what our awareness, our acceptability, our capacity of purchasing and capacity of expending should be enhanced. Otherwise, it is all law, all meetings, all everything will be just on pain and base and nothing else. Thank you.
চারু কারবার কি প্রশ্ন আছে কি স্পাইসেস বোর্ডের ডক্টর মোহাম্মদ আপনার কি প্রশ্ন আছে
Yeah, I have a question. It's like a very basic question. It's like it's related to framework for pollution. So the GI tag. So is it an like umbrella cover for a particular product from a particular geography, or each and every businessman who is dealing certain the commodity will have to procure their own certification?
Only one single community can register for it. It covers the entire community.
Okay. If I want to deal in a certain commodity, so I have to like apply for it.
An individual person cannot apply for this. It is a community rights. Okay, the public body has to apply for these rights, and once the public body register it, then it applicable to that entire community, that entire geographical area. You individually are not required to go for registration. Rather, you can be associated with that GI tag as a registered user. So that you can apply for, and you will get a registered user certificate out of that. That is part 2 of the registration system.
So you said the community I have to go to that particular agency or community to get
the cluster. Yes, who has got that registered tag? You need to approach to them that I want to be the registered user of your GI tag.
Okay.
So accordingly, they can process your application.
So what can we get that list of the clusters where they have the GI tag?
Yes, that you can find in the register also. In specific particular product.
The registration we have shown the X registration. Satme we have given a map.
Okay.
That shows the number of villages or other things, the blocks or whatever it is. That particular area, like Sikkim, large cardamom, is a 100% organic state. So almost every district of Sikkim has got large cardamom.
Okay.
So the whole state. So what that, as I told you, the state level committee we made to look into the quality part and sourcing part. So it is like that. It is basically for a group or a mass. Or so basically in agri commodities we discussed today, the cluster.
Okay.
Or now we have got FPOs. So similar line 5, 6, 10 FPOs working on the same areas. That can also join together.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Burman স্পাইসেস বোর্ড
Thank you so much. So very good to hear from you about Swalkusi silk because I belong to Swalkusi. So again, for ginger, large cardamom, all these things, very good to hear because I am working in spices board. Thank you, Naramek. Thank you, Peta. Thank you, CRA. Actually, on 2 minutes I will take. One for Swalkusi Muga silk because Madam is asking adulteration of silk. That Muga silk, actually, you see, Muga silk cannot be adulterated. Number 1, because that is produced by Antheria asama, the insect, the scientific name of the insect. We Swalkusi people can adulterate the cloth because we will give 1 thread of Muga silk, Assam silk, we can give that tosor, right? Like that, we can adulterate the cloth only. That particular silk thread cannot be adulterated. Okay, so now Swalkusi industry is collapsed because of price factor. And Swalkusi we are producing 2 things. One is mulberry silk, that one Mekla Sadar or Sari. Another one is Muga silk that Assam, Antheria Assam is producing, which is available in Assam only. Nowhere in world you will get that Antheria Assam, that insect. So now grassroots problem is that the production of Muga silk in Assam is very less. It is reducing like anything. The farmers is not producing because Swalkusi people are not producing Muga silk. Never mind that we are producing Muga silk because we are bringing from Upper Assam or Boko, our southern Kamrup area. So production of Muga silk is very less. That's why price is going up. Number 1. The second thing is I'm telling about spices. We are also spices board is coming up very big way for GI tag and all. And almost 26 varieties of spices already registered under GI. And out of 26, 6 is from Northeast. As our Naramek sir is telling about Sikkim, Lars Katanum and Karbi Anglong. Altogether, 6 spices varieties are there already registered. Now we have asked our officers from all Northeastern states that if any special variety of spices is grown in that locality, including all the northeastern states, we will take up the matter for registration. Because sir was asking that whether he can register. Spices board will register on behalf of the farmers. I will request all the FPOs people are here. If you come across such type of varieties of spices, any in your region, please inform us. We will go there and we will verify and we will work for on behalf of you. We will take the responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, as we have.
Sorry, just to one clarification. I was not making a statement or question on this one which you said. It was just an example. My question was more on whether the GI law enforces quality maintenance. Because as Spices Board, and I'm very happy to meet you, I've been working on ginger for 1 year, trying to export it to Europe, working with the Nadia variety. And my challenge has been in procuring 1 container load of ginger which can match and comply to the European standards. And I'm talking down to a farm level. I'm associated with an FPO, trying to help them purely on goodwill basis. And I have not been successful. My only request is if, and what sir said was very right, it is mindset. If today, as a association, as a department, I am registering for GI, my GI should be so strong that I don't have to spend 2 lakh rupees on global gap certification to reach a certain market. My GI should be so strong that a European buyer or an Australian buyer or a Middle Eastern buyer, just by knowing that this is GI certified, will not only know about the origin of the product, but will also know what standard and quality of product we can get. That was my only appeal. And I know it is not one person's responsibility or one department's responsibility, but it's a thought we all need to carry with us because somewhere we are making decisions. We are influencing the system. And this is a big bottleneck.
Actually, GI will give you the intrinsic quality of the particular variety or particular spices or any other commodity.
Right.
But it will never ensure the other qualities like organic, inorganic, or chemical. That will never ensured by GI. Then you have to go for global certificate or organic certificate.
Right.
You have to go.
Right.
Intrinsic quality you will get from
GI. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, as we have come to the conclusion of the session, we want to thank all the delegates who have been kind enough to join us in the program. We want to thank all the esteemed panelists who has taken their precious time for this program. And we especially want to thank APEDA for helping us in organizing for the first time a very focused workshop on GI, particularly ma'am will be happy to organize it in other northeastern states also. Now, I want to thank you all again. Now, lunch is ready. I request everyone to kindly proceed for the lunch. Thank you.